Hello, good afternoon, welcome. I'm Wormslayer2146. It's Saturday, the 6th of May 2023, and we've returned to Factorio today. I've been talking about it a bit recently, but this will be our final session in the current base with these this combination of mods, Krastorio with space exploration. I'm not having fun with it, so we're not going to carry on. And that kind of came to a point in the last session. We've been wrestling recently, scaled the base up to try and make it capable of moving forward at a good pace, and we're in the situation where it's not really working, and we need to kickstart it to get it functional again, and it just keeps not happening. We've taken a few different approaches and essentially just sinking hours and hours into trying to solve quite a basic problem, I feel. So yeah, I don't feel good about stopping it. It feels like giving up, and that's not a good feeling, but it's definitely the right thing to do. We can spend our time having more fun playing with different mods, maybe different games, but probably still Factorio with different mods, where we actually get to build something and achieve something and get that return on our investment of time and effort with something more enjoyable. I think there's kind of two sides to the situation. One is they're mods that are in development, they're not finished, and I think they're not great at the moment. I've only seen one side of it, to be open. There's probably a lot of fun to be had, but I'm not finding it. So I'd be quite interested in keeping an eye on SpaceX especially, and maybe trying it again when it's got a version 1, a proper release, and seeing what the deal is. Though I do feel some of the design decisions behind it are intentionally obtuse and intentionally turn the game into a chore, which is something I just don't like. So it may just not be for me ever, but it's certainly not for me now. And on the other side, I think quite early on just made some fundamental mistakes. And in vanilla Factorio, you make some mistakes with your design or your layout, you just redo it and you move forward, and you still get there in the end. Here, you make a mistake, it takes you hours and hours to decipher it, redesign it, and do it again. I'm just not that patient, I guess. I see myself as quite a patient person, but evidently not in this case. Still, we'll have one last session. The objective today, get the base up and running. We're not far off it, I don't think. We're going to do a very small amount of cheating. Very small amount. Just to get some things moving. We're going to get it up and running again. We're going to get stuff flowing and prove, just to myself, that I'm not completely insane and that we were close to something. But I'm not going to keep bashing my head against this. So today we'll try. Some point today I'll lose my patience. That may be sooner rather than later. Could be a short one. But we will get it up and running before we go. So let's hop in and get going with that. Hello, Mondo. Wiggling in the chat. Let's have a little wiggle too. There we go. Hope you're doing alright today, man. So, what do we need to do? The immediate issue is over on Hephaestus, where we're getting our Vulcanite. We overloaded a delivery cannon chest and it's destroyed the combinator that controls it. So we need to go there, repair all this. We can see from the blinking symbol on the transmitter, we're not generating enough electricity here. So we need to go and set up some electrical production. What we're going to do is take some water fill and create water on this waterless planet to create some significant power generation here, simpler than laying out 10,000 solar panels or whatever it would be. So that's the little bit of cheating we're going to do. We're going to bring some water fill and make that happen here. We're going to redesign this to have a bit more of a buffer space like we have on the other end, just like a warehouse for each of them to run into or something. So that's all good. We just need to work out what to line up, what to take with us. We can make a couple rocket journeys with what we've got, so it should be okay. And things are still kind of playing out a bit. Last session we fed a few bits and pieces here and there, and it's got it kind of moving a little. I don't think it's good, but It might keep moving a little, we'll see. And we've got, I think uranium's like in an excellent position at this point. Yeah, so fuel for the trains, that thing from a couple sessions back, that's all good now. We can just focus on this thing. Let's go up to where our kit is and grab all that, get ready. Day started bad but got better. Well, that's good. That's a bit more positive. Having a good day, hopefully. Need to do some practice, no worries. Have a good one. Hope I have fun factoring. We'll see. Should do. Keep it simple today, keep it chill. What are we going to do here? I just want to leave behind the last of the copper we have. Well, those things we're probably going to take, actually. We'll probably want some more warehouses to play with. Let's take a full stack. We're going to need combinators. It's probably enough. Just take, I don't think we need any arithmetic. A stack of them will be fine. Some constant just in case. Sure. Some radars. Last time we were there, I remember saying it might be nice to have some. I think I did. We're going to want water fill. Is 200 enough? Maybe not. 600 will probably. Let's take 800 to be safe. And we're going to want more cliff explosives than that because we're going to need quite a lot of space to work in to generate the power. They are there. Scoop a few more. 31, probably not enough. I'll just scoop all that and then throw the concrete away. Let's go with that. 60 units, so that might do it. Maybe. We'll see how good the robots are. Should we take some landfill in case we make a mistake? It's not a bad idea. Or we want to move it, you know. Anything else? So, this is going to get quite complicated. But no other belt stuff, so we're probably going to want to just take with us couple stacks of splitters, couple stacks of this and that. Undergrounds, inserters. Can't see us needing them, but we'll take a little anyway, just in case I'm wrong. I am wrong. I know I'm wrong. We'll work that out in a second. That's enough like stuff to fix the landing zone. I've got enough repair packs, definitely. Could take Roboport just in case, like to give some repair coverage, but I don't think it's worth it. Like, just they shouldn't be crashing. I don't know why it did, but obviously we just configured it wrong or got a number wrong somewhere. That's what happened. Everything else was generally okay, I think so. It's just then power. We'll move some of the solar around, but we're going to want, I think it's 2 cells like this to make enough. So that is a lot of everything. 720 greenhouses, 450. Might take more than one trip. We could get one cell set up on a trip for sure though. Bunch of pumps, bunch of this and that. Mainly it's the belt and the pipe that worries me. So 6k belt, 6k pipe, 5k underground is a lot. How are we doing for belt? So 1 row is 1,000, so yeah. We're not going to get a whole block done in a trip. Might have to aim smaller, much smaller. Just take what we can. 2,000 of that. We'll get storage tanks are needed. What is it? A whole block needs 331 apparently. We can take that. Should be okay. Aki, hello. Nice to see you. Hope you're having a nice Saturday. What are we we need from here? We need these things. How many electric boiler thingies? Can't see them. There they are. Just a stack. These are the power stations stacked in tens. That's not good. Well, 450 of them. That's a lot of stacks. We'll go with. Let's take 200 now, and we'll see. Enterocolitis does not sound good at all. No idea what it is. Inflammation. Oh, yeah. Uncomfortable and restrictive, like you're stuck at home, and yeah. Damn, sorry to hear that. Yeah, stomach bug. I hope that kind of sorts itself out, you know? I don't know if you take something for that, or you just have to be patient and let it calm itself down, which... yeah, not fun. Sorry about that. Hope you're feeling better soon, man. Let's take that many. We need room for more pipe. I don't need them. Do need quite a few of them. Like one stack might be enough. Likewise. Same amount as the belt-ish. Kind of. Take a bit more. And then a whole bunch of underground. Take that much. It should be enough to make quite a lot. A gigawatt maybe? Maybe a little under. We're aiming for like 3 gigawatts, which, yeah, is a lot. We'll see how it goes. How's your day? Not a bad day. Pretty good day, actually. Just chilling out. Watching a few streams. Played some games in the morning. Nice lunch. Not bad. Hay fever's getting me a bit today. I opened the window for a bit of fresh air and now I'm sneezing a lot, which is annoying because I'm taking the pills for it and they're obviously just not working. Which they often don't work. More inserters I'm going to go for. Allergies, yeah. Yeah, tree pollen. Usually. It's different every year. We never really know what's causing it exactly, you know. We don't have a lot of them. We'll take what we've got. Could we take blue ones? We could. We've got some. Let's put them back. We'll take blue ones instead. Do we need red ones? Yes. Why, there's 16? Oh, because I've dragged my marker over too much? No, just blue ones would be best. Anything I've taken too much of we could leave behind. Are we going to need more electric poles than that? Damn. Leave loaders behind. We're not going to use many. Maybe some to tidy a bit up. But yeah, that'll be fine. More of them. And more power poles. Yeah. Oh, they're not even here. So repurpose what's on the other end. Some of them, probably not enough of them. No, we're going to need to leave something behind. Let's leave a few tanks behind, as we're not aiming for everything. And don't need to take rocket fuel because we've got some there for the rocket. We can pick it up when we land. Just take a little bit for now. That's probably it. Let's, where do we make poles? Down here somewhere. Helpful little sign to tell me that. Must be around here. Yeah, using the wood. Which reminds me, we need to take some greenhouses. Let's hope that's enough and we'll just Where do we make a greenhouse? To the east? Yep. It's 100 of them. We need more than we need other stuff. I don't think we can be picky. We just have to take 2 trips. If we've got enough rocket parts to do that. We might. We'll see how it goes. I think we're about ready to take a trip and start doing some things over on Hephaestus. So we'll do that. And then work out what we need to take on a second trip afterwards. Some things are moving. We're going to make a bit of copper. Whether that leads to things just working, I don't know. I doubt it's enough. We've got 2 rockets ready to go. What can land safely? Anything? Yep, let's take the fuel one then. Land on Hephaestus. Off we go. Let's see what we can succeed with on the first trip. Okay, let's repair this first of all. This, we know the number was wrong, so I'm just going to lower it to something much lower so it doesn't continue causing problems. That's repaired, good start. That's got stuff in that we might take back. You know, we're taking a whole rocket back, so that's something to bear in mind as well. Would quite like to just clear some space in my inventory to work on things with. Probably put this in a silly place, but never mind. That heat shielding can go in there. That's fine. For now, I think we should move some of the solar to kind of tidy up ready. I think these are like odd, so I'm going to take these away. Actually, a lot of this, if we want to reuse poles, a lot of this doesn't need to be here. So we'll strip that out too. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. We just keep a strip going here to connect them on this end. How are we doing at clearing up the junk? Not bad actually. It got through quite a lot while we were away. I got through all the stone, in fact. It's not bad. It's going to take a while though. So we keep that connected to finish that off, and then we'll take that away if it ever comes to that, if we're ever here. It does mean the radar might be nice to move. I don't really want to move this entire left edge over, so I think we leave that there actually. Yeah, why not? That's fine. We'll leave it like that and leave that radar powered. Keep stripping back all of that. Might join it up again somewhere. Maybe here? Yeah, where the guns are. That's alright. Strip all this lot back as well. And then might try and fill this top corner in, so we'll just also strip off the last of the eastern edge here. Which is going to mean more rocks getting deleted, so that cleanup is the next run that we do. I have half an idea. Might do something with Factorissimo, the mod with the buildings that you go inside and build inside of. Quite like the idea of that. Quite like the idea of making a rail grid again. Don't think we really got to see enough of it in this, and would like to play with LTN some more, maybe. Try and get a better understanding of it. So I might do that in the next run. We'll see. More rocks in the way. But yeah, in the next run I will probably spawn a map with no rocks, no trees, no We might just a completely blank one maybe. We'll have like a real sandbox build. I tend to enjoy them. Might be a lot more chill than what we've done this time. Could be a good change. Go very, very sandboxy. Get this cliff out of the way too, so if the robots do this... We only used 5 pieces for all that cliff, so actually, yeah, pretty good, pretty effective. Efficient. Seems good. Let's get a bit more built in to keep the inventory moving. To the top on that run. It'd be nice if I just happen to have enough pieces to square this off. I doubt I do. I don't know, maybe in the second trip we'll have enough space to bring just enough to finish it off. Do love my squares. That's all good, so grab that much. And that in for them too. And then there's a radar on the corner. Be nice to mirror. There they are. Hang on. Like that. Yeah, happy to do that. Might need to clear more of this out of the way depending on how much space this biomethanol lines are going to take up. We'll see. Left provided with missing cargo. We're missing is fine. I mean, it's, you know, errors like that. I'd like to find a way to use LTM without getting these errors, you know, to program everything differently, or understand how we might make something more efficient with it, more tidy. Because I guess a big flaw in this run... Am I out of stuff? I'm out of everything. Okay. I'm not going to scoop up any more. Right, let's do this differently then. Somehow. Gut the inside. Try and fit them down there. I think I just bit off more than I can chew with this run, really, by trying to do everything all at once. Things I'd never done before all at once. Like I say, I'm interested in trying SpaceX again in the future when it's updated. And finished, if that ever happens. I'd play Krastorio again now. It seems like a complete thing. I don't particularly see the point, if I'm honest. Not what I'm looking for, maybe, but we could give it a go. You know, on its own. And LTN as well. Like, never used it before, but decided to throw it into the middle of this. Just may have been a bad idea. Could have done better with playing with that first, and then when I understood it better, expanding it into a run like this. Don't know. It'd be nice to play with each one individually though, I think, gain a better understanding. I'm not saying I'll ever come back to the combined. I don't see a big point of that. I'm not the kind of person who wants to spend my time like that. Particularly. Rather play more games and different things, and you know what I mean? Variety. It's a bit messy, but it's what we've got. It'll do. Maybe we'll be able to tidy it up. Let's head down. Clear this junk out and keep those crushers busy for a bit longer. Especially if they're not getting the power they need. Let's top up our bit of stuff that I had stored down there. There we go. Then top up our jetpack fuel a little. Don't forget to do that. Good. Then clear some space down here to start biomethanol. We want to leave a little gap to dig the water into. Just a little one because we've not got a lot of poles to play with. Can I get some individual units on Everdome? Don't particularly need... What we had here was a system to cascade them in case of power shortages. But we've got a lot more solar here, so I don't think that's necessary. A single unit. Actually, am I crazy, or do I have that in a book? I do. We're not upgraded, right? So let's first of all clear a big empty space, no rocks, no cliffs, to start working in. And then we'll update the blueprint if we need to, before pasting it out a whole bunch of times. There's quite a few cliffs here, just ended up in a bad space, I guess. I think we got enough explosive on us to clear all that out. Like I say, I'm not sure how much space we're going to use up here. See how it goes. I'll clear all that in a second. Let us pick them up and get that book back out. So there's one. That pole needs changing. Don't have enough of that type of pole on me. Interesting. There's one thing we're missing then. This is already blue belt, blue inserter, so it's good. That's what we've brought. Seems good. Okay, let's swap this junk stone out for the equipment I kept safe and build one in. When the sun rises, if we can get that up and running, we'll have some consistent power. Still won't be anywhere near enough for a long time. It'll drain down all the water. Where did I put... There we go. Can't quite grab it all. Bits that are not involved with this. Put them away. It's all involved. It's fine. Build a little bit, come back and grab the rest. That'll be fine. Yeah, missing medium power pole. Okay, annoying. Won't really work without them, so... Second trip before we get up and running. Didn't bring any atmospheric condensers. Won't work without them either. Oh well. We know it always takes 2 trips. And that pump is a... Is that used like that? I think it is. I mean, we can change it at the end if not, if that's wrong. See how it goes. Okay. It's all built in. We can be... I mean, I don't know what we did with water back home. We had 4 pumps in each corner. And the other corners? Yeah. So, this was 9 by 9, 4 in each corner. So we're doing a pump for every 5 blocks. It's quite a lot of blocks, actually. Might just overdo it here and do like a pump for every block or something crazy like that. Make smaller water holes. Pump for every block. It's overkill. Oh, so that's the wrong tank. That's the one we're after. So go there. I mean, why not? Why not? Where? There they are. So we'll line that up with that. Oh. Okay. Interesting. I didn't test that before. Should have, actually. Thinking about it, we should have. No water. So, the waterless planet trait still stands. Even though we can use waterfill to make a puddle of water, we can't place the pump to pump it out. cool. They did. Well, I'm not sure if they tested that on purpose, but they made it so that it works, even if it was an accident. I doubt it, but we can't get water. Okay, change of plan then. We can't make the biomethanol without delivering water in. That's another thing we could do. We just know that you have to deliver a lot. Do we ever work out how much? It's like this recipe plus a bit of steam. Is that all it does? Yeah. So that's 800 every 120 seconds. 7 per second. Plus 100 per second, but that's not going to be used in full. Can I use a factory planner for this? If we didn't already have one. Don't think we do. So what we're making is 10 machines worth of biomethanol. That might give me the number I'm looking for. That's 0.28 machines. A little bit more on that, but less than that. There we go. 3,600 a minute, 10 machines. I need steam and wood from the basic recipe. Well, that's an interesting thought. Wrong one. Wood. It's 200 water per 60 seconds, so it's half as much water if we delivered sand in, or stone and turned it into sand, and redesigned things. It would half the amount of water, which seems worth it. Fertilizer one is the same amount of water. So, I mean, let's do the number with the current recipe, but we could half the amount there. From barrels. So to get the combined amount of water for one cell, it's 192 barrels a minute. Take that over 12, 16 per second. No, 16 per gunshot. And there's 10 in a stack, so it's 1.6 guns for every cell. We need 81 cells to a block, and I think we need 2 blocks. So we'd need 260 guns firing barrels of water over here. And the capsules with which to take them. And then do something with the barrels when they get here, which is probably just destroy them and waste the steel. It's just not viable at all, like in any way. Is there some other way we can transport water? I just don't... I guess what I struggle with at times like this, and the reason why I'm giving up on these mods, is I don't understand what you're supposed to do here. And all you can do is scale it back. Like, power it by solar and scale it back enormously. Which is fine, just end up making everything even slower, which is, to me, I guess that's the torture. I'm just not willing to go at the speed it's saying. I've clicked the wrong button, haven't I? Change the fluid to water and craft. So steam would need barreling. Dirty water would need barreling. And there's less water than each thing, so it's not better or more efficient. Water ice would make water, so that's an option. Core fragment. A regular core fragment can make water. That's an interesting idea. The core fragments on this planet are not regular ones, they're vulcanite core, which I assume doesn't give water. Core fragment vulcanite. Could be broken, yeah. It's gets pyroflux out of it, which is pretty cool. But no, they're in stacks of 20, so you need half as many guns to shoot over regular core fragments from home. But I'm not sure we can get enough core fragments to begin with to do that. It's a very small source, 20 fragments for 16 water, so it would be an efficiency gain there, but not much. Some barrel processing, which we wouldn't be doing. That requires steam. No, so water ice is the only real option. Make it from oxygen and hydrogen. Ooh. Interesting. Can we get oxygen and hydrogen over here? Or heavy oil? Same problem with heavy oil. There's no source of oil on this planet, is there? There is. Okay. Crude oil. Not much, but there's some. So the oil... we haven't got that research. So we can't do that. Interesting, though. As an option, you pump the oil out and split it into coal and water. Then you'd have water on your waterless planet from the oil. That's interesting. If we'd known about this issue 100 hours ago when we were doing our dodgy, messy bit of research, we could have done that. And that's actually an interesting thought. Maybe you can enjoy these mods more if you're willing to build messy. You know, if you usually build spaghetti like. That's what we did to get a bit of research done. We could have just kept doing that. And I'd have hated it, but it would have probably worked. That's the only... Okay, so water ice. Let's check if we've got the research to do that. We do. If we can find a source of water ice and transport it. I don't think we can. Or hydrogen and oxygen. My thought on water ice is we had some in orbit. Yeah, very small amount, but we do. And this whole thing is a mess, but we could try and set up a tiny bit of gunfire up to here with the ingredients to make the capsules, and from here it's just not achievable. Okay. Hydrogen. That one. Rafting. Splitting water. Sure. That doesn't help us. Barreling the hydrogen is, you might as well barrel the water. Sand and water. Or water. No? Okay. The entire mod pack has no source of hydrogen other than water. So making water from hydrogen is irrelevant. Pointless. 40 and 20 or 20. Oh, it's the reversed one here. 20 and 40. Do you make it... I can see the point. The point is things like ammonia. But yeah, that's not a source of water. Okay, how do we deal with this? Let's come up with a solution. We can cheat more. Not against it, because, I mean, what else am I going to do today? Other than get this up and running. We can cut back on the number of guns here. We can do that quite easily, really. We just disable the guns. The amount of power we need would be cut back, and we'll just use what's like more solar. Why not? Then probably a quicker way of doing this. Just cut the ends. Yeah. Making a whole mess, but not too concerned by it. up the outside and stop all power to 5 of these rows. Probably still need a lot more solar. Check the math on that in a bit. Let's cut this line here. There we go. I can't really tell at the moment, I guess. Can tell from the history though. Well, the currently active guns want 120 megawatts. Is that right? The peak was at 800. Times 10. So yeah, about 134 megawatts is what okay, more than that. No, it's changing. I think about 134. And we are making 280. There's a lot of other things drawing power here, obviously, but that could be okay. We could just scale up the solar maybe to enable a second line to get a bit more. Let's work on that basis then. Abandon the idea. So the other option, just out of interest, we could cheat in some infinity pipes. Just out of curiosity, I'm not saying we use them. My inventory didn't have space for them. Okay, in a second, I'll let me take some stuff back to that warehouse temporarily. Tidy things up a bit in a second. There, infinity pipe. Have I got a tank on me? Does the waterless planet prevent me from cheating in water, is my question. No. Okay. So like properly cheating, we can do it. Just magically make water. And that will work. Like I say, I'm not saying we do that. That's taking it a bit far, I think. Move them from there. That's... yeah. The stuff relating to that tidied up. Yep. Those. And those. And those. Okay. Okay. So yeah, make a trip again and come out with more solar, enable a second line, do a third of what we were planning. You know, it's something. It might be enough to get the base up and running, and that's all we're aiming for. Maybe we can scale it up a bit more. Not sure though, with the amount of power it was having a problem with it. Not sure. I guess we'll find out, you know, we're just going to need to give it a bit of time to run and we can find out. If it is absolutely not going to work with solar, then maybe we will cheat the water in and just make it happen. Which is why I'm leaving these pieces here rather than taking them home. Still didn't bring any Tesla coils as well for charging my armor. I would just, yeah, like to move that. So we can redo the landing stuff here. Let's just move it over this side. Bit of pipe. Got anything there? No, that's fine. Underground. Tanks and pump things. That type and that type. And then all the machinery. Is that all of it? Yep, and then those related items. That's fine, that's that moved and tidied up a bit. Even when I try and half cheat, it doesn't work. What's happening here? We're short of explosives. We got a bunch of copper landed. Why are we short of explosives? They're the one that were like okay before. Check the outbound stuff. Might just be short of capsules, I guess. There's quite a lot of copper here. Backed up, I guess, is all. And yeah, just short of capsules. which are not being made because they're not getting the copper. So we need to re-enable the request for copper here to get things moving. Although I doubt there is any. Next time, unless, you know, I'll have to check the change logs or other people playing, I guess, to find out. But I think I'd avoid going for ingots at all. With the way we have things set up, I guess. There are other ways of setting things up. Might have let us use both. Still half tempted by that idea to just have a bunch of machines here. So we make the ingots, then we split them down to plate and then put them on the network. So we deal with plate everywhere. And just on the iron would have a little bit of ingots go somewhere because you need the ingots for one thing. Which, you know, that's what I mean about like design decisions that are intentionally awkward. You only need it for one thing. It's, I don't know. I'm not saying I could do any better as well. Definitely want to be clear about that. The mods are amazing. Space exploration especially is technically such an incredible achievement. I would be interested in making a mod, not at the same time that I'm working on this RimWorld mod thing. That'd be too confusing, but if I'm ever kind of done with that or happy with where it is, then I might start making a Factorio one, but it would be very different to something like SpaceX, much more simplified and about the production chains, not the logistics, I guess. I think SpaceX primarily is about solving logistical problems and situations which, you know, is possibly one of the reasons I'm not getting on with it. That's not my favourite part of Factorio. I tend to just build a bunch of belts in a straight long line, which you can't do here, obviously. So I prefer building stuff. That's what I'd like to get back to as well. Why I'd like to move on to something new is get back to building stuff. Where's that copper going? K46 North is not the one we wanted at. It's this one, so I didn't switch it back on early enough, or it was not its turn. So things are not going to move unless more ingots, or enough further ingots, are being made. Which they are not. Oh, they are. They've already come to get some. 7 ingots, 70 plate. It's probably not enough to get things moving. Okay. In any case, I wanted to move all this around, didn't I? Change it a bit. So we are going to... If we cut these, then it stops. The signals aren't sent. Therefore, things stop coming after the ones that are in transit land. I want to... Okay. Am I wrong? Where are those guns? Down here. They're firing what's backed up in them. Yep. It's taking them... Interesting. I should have been shooting every 5 seconds because of the time it takes to craft, but it looks like their energy might have been a bigger issue. In any case, they shoot 5 times after you tell them to stop. Well, we haven't told them to stop is the thing. They shoot 5 times after you stop inserting capsules. What we've done, what we're controlling. So that's fine. Let me just create a warehouse to get things out of the way. Move all that copper over here. All of them things. We'll tidy them up later. Pick these up because they're going to move. And yeah, tidy the lines up as well, I guess. Lights and everything. Those are probably going to stay there like that. So that's all good. Am I forgetting something? No, looks fine. A warehouse for each. I didn't bring anything smaller, so I guess that's what it'll be. That there. And now we create still bits of scrap from a crashed rocket here. Oops. Didn't tidy up very well. That's all good. The combined one. I mean, they can share a warehouse. They could all share a warehouse, really, if we set the numbers right. Sure. Why not? Need to create the shared line, actually. So yeah, no, I'd rather do that differently. Probably back there. That's fine. Where is it? It's there. So we do there and there. Make sure the filters are set. Left side is heat shielding. Right side is low density structures. And that can run under there. Loaders out for copper and for explosives. Okay. Then the landing pads. Lights in the way now. We can be extra safe by putting additional loaders on them, I guess. They can go here. Just move that underground back there. There we go. Same with these guys. That's outside where I put power poles already, so I think I'll put them here. That's, you know, nice and compact and together. Move the lights back around a bit. Yeah, there, there covers all of that, and then there for the rocket. Sure, why not? Good. Then they need their deciders. There and there. Sure. We're feeding in. It's on the red network. Okay, wires are still here. That helps. From the storage to the decider. It's going to be a bit ugly. No, we'll just go straight in. That's fine. Storage to the deciders. From the deciders to the pole. Would be good. Just need to get the numbers correct. So it doesn't really matter. We can set them pretty low. Just about keeping things moving. We've got 500 slots at least in the warehouse. We know every gun, when told to stop, is shooting another 5 slots. So number of guns is relevant. Start with copper. 4 guns, I think. Check that. Too far? Yeah, 4 guns. 7, 2 and 2. So 20 slots need to be kept open for the emergency. So 480, so we can round down and be like 400. But we don't want to really fill a buffer that big this end. There's no need to. I mean, it doesn't hurt to have a big buffer and keep things moving, but it's just no need for it. Rather, like, cut this way back. Go with like a row, 10. What do they come in? Stacks of. This is stacks of 100 for this. So 1,000 copper. If the copper plate is less than 1,000, output, what is that controlled by? A and B, sure. Output A. That one's going to output B. It's kind of irrelevant at this point. We don't need to worry about what's... We do need to worry about prematurely sending the signals. We're just going to get bombarded by 20 cannons aiming directly at the wrong place. I've disconnected the transmitter, so now it won't send while I'm fiddling with it. But yeah, this was a silly thing to do. Again. Definitely my fault. At least we've got plenty of repair packs on us. Try not to stand in the shrapnel range ourselves. We'll try not to do that again. This does a lot of damage. Okay, are they done? Looks done. Okay, they belong in there then. I probably wouldn't have even thought about that. I probably would have switched it all on without realising that they're targeting the wrong place because I moved things. But okay. We don't need to worry about what's in each cannon. They're all being emptied faster than we can shoot into them. Spreading it out's nice, but we can change it to a single signal really. There'll be A. This will be B and this will be C and D, because they're two different things. So that instead is looking at explosives and outputting B. That is looking at one of them. Let's say low density structures and outputting C, and then that's looking at heat shielding and looking at D. Good. And numbers need changing, so they're 1,000, these could be 500. I'm not sure if that's right. I guess we'll see it up and running. I mean, it's definitely low enough that we won't overload back up and have the specific issue of blowing things up by accident. Overloading the chests, like that can't happen, so that's one good thing. Should probably build the landing pad and the landing chests further apart. If we come in a rocket, it misses and we destroy these, the guns are going to keep firing. Unless we also destroy the combinator. Just a thing, just a little thought. Separate them out, keep it safer. Give your landing pad a big, wide, safe zone in general. No big deal though, for us at the moment. I think that's all good. So yeah, we just need to change the other end, which we can do by satellite. These are all going to be on the A. These are all going to be on the B. Following the pattern, this would be C, so I think they need swapping. C for heat shielding. D for low density structure. Yeah, so let's just change that. That to low density structure, there we go, just to match the two sides. You know I like my organisation. So that's on that, that's on that. These need retargeting. So that one's to there. This is always a bit fiddly. We will still split them even though they're controlled together. Why not? That one to that chest, and that one to there. Then we can copy paste. That one to there. You can copy paste, and you to the top chest. And there we go, they should be configured right. They're on, they appear to be aimed, so we just need to actually send the signals and see if everything blows up. Strong chance all the time. Signals are being sent, but we've doubled up. Okay. We're sending 2 A signals and 2 B signals now, which does make sense. We just need to change this equal or greater than. Right, A is... should be fine. They're firing. Those guys have green lights on the inserters. They're all good. Fine. Things are landing. Good. There's now over 1,000 copper, so those should not be getting signal A. These are disabled. 5 more shots will come in. But there's plenty of space for them, so that should not be an issue. And it seems fine. These empty out quick. Just a lack of initial resources. Other way around. Empty that one out. Copper into there, which is now shouldn't request a lot for a long time. Those and those into there. And still no explosives. But that's fine. That's now done. And power, we're in the middle of the night still, so hard to tell. Guns, that's meteor defense guns. That's the guns. Currently using a megawatt. Because they're not firing. We need them to. We need to be daytime and them firing for us to see half the picture, and then we need to see nighttime and firing. But that's okay. We'll see that at some point. Stuff we got on us. I'm going to leave those cliff explosives here because we will use them here, and the radars, and the blue inserters. They're not really relevant back home. Okay. Came here to do 2 things. One of them doesn't work, can't do it. And the other we have done. We want to make a second trip with more solar panels. Maybe more cliff explosives. Probably got enough. Just probably lots of solar stuff. And then we'll see how many guns can we power off a solar grid. And go from there, you know. Activate as many as we can. If it's just one row, then that's how much vulcanite we're going to have flowing. But if that gets the base functional, then there you go. I want to take back rocket parts to make sure we can come back here. Overdone it with the fuel. That's not unexpected. Cargo rocket section. And a bunch of capsules. Capsules could stay. We got them at home still. There are not 100 sections here. Ah, okay. That changes things. There's 103 actually, I'm wrong. There's 103 here. Next time we come, we need to get home. We need to leave at least 75 here. So why don't we play that safe actually and keep them here for the next rocket to get back. It's like our last opportunity. We still have a rocket the other side. I think. Yes. So we'll empty that out. We don't need to bring them with us, but we have a rocket. And close to making another one. But then we won't have a return journey on that. So this is it. One more trip to get this working. We have an excess of copper here now. So we're going to bring vulcanite back. That's the best thing we can do, actually. To get things kick-started, the best thing we can do is bring a ton of vulcanite back. Oh, as much as we can, you know. Let me just make this easier on myself. Just temporarily connect these lines in. A load of vulcanite plus whatever I can carry. I should actually do pretty good. That might get things going. Could do. Move them down there. And grab as much as we can carry. Help fill that in, actually. And also bring a whole inventory full back home. quite a lot of vulcanite actually. That will make a difference. Kind of exciting. Might as well get in, ready to go. Am I? Yep. Think so. When we're full. Ah, no. I want to tidy this up, don't I? I don't want to leave that there. Reconnect that. Leave. It's already full. Oops. I want to leave that either. Is there anything else I could just leave here? Some power poles. That'll be helpful on the next time we're here anyway. So that's worth doing. Is that enough space for all of this? Nope. Leave some rocket fuel in here. A little bit. Ooh, some explosives. Exciting. Still not enough space. What can we do about that? Not a lot. Just disable the inputs into there, because some of it is moving. It's very exciting, actually. That might do it. There we go. Scooped all that up. A little bit of space left. There we go. Okay. Mess tidied up. Lots of vulcanite to take home. The little bit of copper we had seems to have made some things move. Heading to the landing pad. Off we go. This actually probably means if we left it, it would get up and running. It's shooting a bit back. It will stop, but that stuff it's shooting will make some more copper and it will flow through again. Unless we ran out of steel as well, but we seem to have a bunch of that. Need to switch steel back on once we've got copper flowing. It's a bit of a juggling act still, obviously. Okay. No inventory space. Clear that out for a second. Be specific about what I want from here. Grab all of them. Oh, they're just going to keep loading, yeah. You cut all that away. And just leave them in there. It's fine, that'll sit on the belt. The rocket parts I was going to put in there. So we've got 2 rockets this end. Is that all good? Yeah, that's all fine. Whatever. No fuel? Oh yeah, it is. It just doesn't have its target set. And it does have enough. And that one's fine. Though we wouldn't take any more fuel over. There's plenty that end for a long time. Might as well clear that into here while I've started it. And then start flying that over here. Why don't I do a bit more? Just need my rocket fuel. Get this moved over. That'll help move things along a bit more as well. Don't want to be too optimistic, but we might get there today. Few more trips of this, and then we go get solar panels and the accumulators and see what we can do. A quick need to check in on the other planet by satellite often in order to try and catch the information. Know we're looking at the right time at how much power it needs and how much it's providing. Okay, there's that. Let's have a quick peek. It's daytime. We're generating 70 megawatts. That's not right. Oh, because we only need... Because we're not firing. Okay. If we can get this minimal amount up and going, then we can look at scaling it up. Yeah, that makes sense. But we still want to take solar over there to make as much as possible anyway. You know, before getting bored of it, basically. As much as possible means until I get bored of it. So let's head to where the stuff is and clear out what we don't need to do that with. Oh, I didn't dump all my vulcanite off. Oops. Deal with that in a second. Move it there so I don't forget. We'll use that up. We'll deal with all of this to tidy that up. We're going to want... get rid of what we don't need first. Take that chest for belt stuff. We're not using that. Not using inserters or warehouses or combinators. Get rid of the copper, get rid of that. We'll keep... We usually keep the blueprint book on us. Don't really need to, but I will. And the repair packs, sure. And we want the bots, the fuel... Tidy that up. So that's all good. We want to take a whole bunch of medium poles. Let's take full stacks, and then we'll go grab a whole bunch of small ones. And that's it. It's just small pole, medium pole, and solar panel accumulator. That's all we need for our final trip over there. I guess we should wait then. I want to go there and scale it up, but so then no point in really knowing what we need if we can't go back and do it. We don't have the rocket parts. It does make sense. Let's tidy up this vulcanite and this last bits of copper plate from before, though now we do actually have more, so they're not quite as precious. Good though, like I say. Does seem like we could get it moving a bit. Not sure we'll fill every buffer everywhere in quick enough, but we'll do something. This is where vulcanite comes to, so let's feed that in there. And the copper into one of the sides of the capsule system down here. Probably for making capsules, I'd say. Yes, like nothing moving here. What, they need both. There's something. Make a few more. And this side has all the resources but none of the capsules. Okay, so the priority is making capsules now to get these launched. Which is fine. How is the inbound doing here? It's actually backed up a bit on copper ingot. That's nice. Not a lot, but a bit. They're still obviously requesting 8,000 of them. That, I think, is the key to it. Next rail grid we set up is not going to have buffers this big. They're just completely unmanageable. You just can't get anywhere because I'm waiting for those to fill up for so long. Not sure how we'll do better. That's what I'd like to explore, I guess, by stripping back to just LTN as the main focus would let us try and design a station that behaves in a more efficient manner than this. This is not good, I think. I made it, so I'm allowed to say that. All of the vulcanite blocks made it here. No, okay. Some did though. Pyroflux is used up, but a bit of molten is still being made. And a reasonable amount of ingots, okay. They'll go to one of the two sides. Again, I could disable the one we don't want it currently going to. That kind of feels irrelevant at this point. We need it to fill this buffer in. We can set that lower. But we've talked before, there's no point. What's the train actually bringing? Just make sure I've got this right in my head. 40 stacks across 8 wagons, and ingots are in 50s. So a train brings 16,000. While the train is not full and it's only bringing some, I guess it is relevant to set it lower. It does make sense. What we don't want... So say the journey to bring more ingots here takes 1 minute. And we're consuming 1,000 ingots a minute. We need that train to bring 1,000 ingots every time. In theory, it brings 16,000, but we're not producing them that fast compared to what we're consuming. So at the moment, it's relevant. Shouldn't have removed it. But because we're not producing that fast, it's relevant to set it lower because the train isn't bringing 16,000. So the trigger point is relevant. We still want it to be the right buffer amount for what we're using here for the time it takes. And I think the journey, I mean, it's probably not 2 minutes. So I think we're safe to go with 2 minutes of what we consume. This is the square we're in. So the number's still pretty big. This square should be consuming 11.25 a minute. So 22.50 I think is a reasonable number. Which is still, yeah, a big number. If it drops under 22.50, they go and get more, whatever that is. We'll see. Okay, how was your week? Reasonable, I think. It's hard to tell, really. It's weird with my weekend being Monday, Tuesday. I can't even tell that it's the weekend at the moment. What did we get up to so far? I guess it's been quite quiet so far. Not got up to much. Been doing a bit of coding on RimWorld stuff, which is good fun. Actually, I'm enjoying that a lot in my free time. Haven't achieved much in the real world, I'd say. That's a bit of a letdown always. Would like to, do more on the house or the garden or whatever, but not been in the mood, I guess, is the main thing. Bit of a shame. We'll see. Maybe better next week. Can change things a bit next week. I might stream 6 days. Add an extra game in or something like that. Don't know. It's hard to tell what's really going to help. Sometimes I think working more helps me be motivated to do other things. So I'll get more painting done, I'll get more gardening done if I do more work rather than less. Possibly. Don't know. Just feeling a bit... What's the right word? Uninspired, maybe? Don't really know what to create. I think stopping this Factorio run and starting a new one is going to help. Maybe motivate me a bit more, inspire me a bit more to do something else. Don't know really. It's just a weird, not weird mood. A mood. Time is moving past quite quickly. I don't feel like I'm really doing much. I want to learn programming. I think it would be a good... I'm a bit confused by why you need to learn it. Like in terms of getting some income, I think it would be very good for me to get into programming and do programming jobs. But I don't know what you learn. Like, I've started programming this RimWorld mod using C#. I don't know C#, but I'm making it work perfectly fine. So can I now apply for a job that says you need to know C#? Because, like, it's not that difficult. Can I apply for a job that says you need to know Python, even though I've never used it because it would take me like a week to learn it? Or are they going to expect a certain professional capability. So you think about how I can, I don't know, what's a good example? Maybe gardening. Like I can go out and dig in my garden or spray weed killer or whatever. But if I went to apply for a gardening job, they'd expect me to know how to, like, I don't know. Actually, that's a bad example. I can't think of a good example. Maybe like a teacher? Like I know some facts about history, but if I was trying to be a history teacher, they'd expect me to have like the ability to design a lesson and like deliver an educational plan. And those are like the professional requirements of it. So even though I could just learn any language and do a programming, I wouldn't know how to deliver a product that is created through code. And I assume that's what they want. Or maybe cooking's a good example. You know, you can't just get a job in a kitchen. Just because I can cook my dinner pretty good doesn't mean I get to go be a, you know, like a head chef or a high up chef. You have to start at the bottom. And to get in at the bottom, you have to have done the right training course, even if it's irrelevant to you. So, yeah, I don't know. Speak to someone who does it is a very good idea. Yeah. I wish I knew someone. I do know someone. I kind of know someone, but they started 40 years ago. So I imagine it's different. I don't know. I don't know. I did talk to someone before through my father, a guy he knows does like web design. He's like, if you want to do web design, just, you know, learn A, B, and C. So I went and learned A, B, and C in a week, and then I was like, well, like now what? What? I'm not going to get a job because even though I know it, I can't just write on my CV, well, I know it. If I was put through like a test at interview, I wouldn't be able to pass it unless I can just Google the answers. It's a weird one. I find it very weird. Like, what is the expectation? And where does it come from? And how do you deliver on that? Do I just need a certificate of a particular type to convince people? And like, how easy is that? You know? I don't know. Depends what they ask. Yeah. Some will say you need to have worked in this language for this amount of time, I guess, which I'd never get. Well, I don't know. I've been working in C# for 2 weeks. Does it count? Could go to college. Yeah, it's too long. Like I need money in the next 3 months. That's really the hard limit. I'm at the point at the end of this month I need to be earning money, and then 3 months from now I need to be paying my bills, or I need to go back to the work I was doing before, because that is relatively easy. I can go and get a full-time job in warehouse management pretty easily, and that would solve my financial problem, but would leave me with no free time for streaming and for creativity, you know, just be tired all the time. And that's not good. You know, that's where I was before, so I can go back to that, but that's not what I want at all. Programming I can do from home. I know I'm capable of it. I just, yeah, like I said, I don't know where you start. Really don't. If I can do some kind of just show them the Factorio safe. Yeah, look at this. There you go. This is what we built. This is how it works. Give me a job. Could work. Shows a commitment. Yeah. Commitment to torturing myself, even after I'm having fun. Hydroflux flowing copper. We're getting somewhere here. Slow progress. We'll just take it chill for a couple of hours, see if we can get this going before we destroy the whole thing. I won't destroy it, actually. I will save it and keep it somewhere. We might come back to it, but I doubt it. Death World next. Oh, we could look at some military stuff. I was just going to build like my dream factory with Factorissimo warehouses in perfect squares on a square grid, everything in perfect line, all the numbers divisible by 10. It's a bit of a... I don't know, I think that's interesting, but it could be kind of boring. Deathworld is, to me, quite boring, but it could be interesting to watch. I just don't think it is that interesting. It's kind of dull. There's lots of biters everywhere. You just build lots of turrets and then go around repair them constantly. And don't make much progress building anything. Or as much progress building anything. Don't know. And we could just at least have biters on for a run. That might be kind of interesting for people. Doesn't necessarily have to be Deathworld, could just be not peaceful. Is an option. And yeah, like I say, might add another game as well. Not sure what. I'm doing a lot of building in Minecraft in my free time, so I could just stream that. I've seen people we're following who are playing Oxygen Not Included, and I'm still tempted to give that a go, start learning that. Similar to what we've been playing. Although, I don't know, playing 3 similar games at the same time might not be a good idea. I don't know. Copper is there. It's gonna go to L46, which is this one. Good, because it's out. Oh, same logic actually, shouldn't I? Why don't I reduce that to 2250 as well? Not that I think it'll make a difference anytime soon, but it might at some point with the balancing of things. Actually, it won't make any difference, will it? Because I'm going to switch things on. Guess I'll switch them on when these hit their buffers and we have spare copper, and then I can look up what we need in the others, change their numbers and do the same. The copper ingots here are backing up the belt a bit. Slowly. Still some movement here and there. Oh, we had some... Oh, we've got a bunch of capsules. Oh, wow. That could be the product of all the vulcanite I carried home. So that means on this end, just we're missing heat shielding. But they're still making some with what they've got. Why are we missing heat shielding is question number 1. It is available. We've not got any signals. What's gone wrong? There's an electrical shortage up here, that won't be helping. It is outputting a C. B and C. Okay, so it's probably electrical issue. Festus, it says it's not outputting any signals. Yeah, okay. So it's flicking the signal through and it's shooting the 5 that it shoots. But it's not happening for the heat shielding for some reason. Am I crazy? B and... Oh. No, that's right. B and C. C is heat shielding. What am I missing here? It's now currently sending signal B and C. But this end is not currently receiving signal B and C. Well, one thing is that heat shielding is controlled by C. Not by B. No, that's fine. That's fine. Why is this confusing me so much? It should be working. Okay, we're in the middle of the day. The power draw with these 10 guns firing and recharging is 500 megawatts. Our maximum production capacity is 281. So just to keep 10 of them firing, we need to double the amount of solar we've got, which is 2,500 panels just for 10 guns. I don't think we can take that in one trip. Depends what they're stacked in. Let's go take a look. Could we take 2,500 panels and twice as many accumulators just to keep those 10 going? If we can keep those 10 going, maybe we can get the base moving. It's possible. It's not doing badly at the moment with power cutting out most nights. Head up, should be above us, where the solar panels are stored. No, one to the east. Is it in this one? It is, right? End of this one. Oh, we might not be making any. Right. So that is 500, 1,000, 2,000. We're 50 panels short of 2.5. Okay. We definitely don't have enough accumulators. So that's 2,000 accumulators, which would only work for 1,000 panels. Is that much? So on this journey we could add 50% to what we've already got. We're missing the copper here to make more, so we'd need to make another journey, so we'll need the copper to make the rocket parts sections to make another trip. We can go out there, put these in. That lets us run 7 or 8 guns, so we can just disable a couple. Not that we necessarily need to, but probably should for consistency. Disable, let's say, 3 of them. Maybe we do the math when we're over there. Exactly how many we can handle. Let's just double check. Other side has a rocket ready to come home, so we're good on that front. We could remove some other things that draw power. They're not... The idle draw won't be much on any of them. That's fine. Also going to need about 500 medium poles and 1,000 small ones. Let's say, roughly. And that is what I'm carrying on me. That was a good guess. Let's go put these out. We're going to take this one to a Festus landing pad. Anything else we want to take? No. Let's go. That's good. Okay. It's something. We can bring a bunch of Vulcanite back with us again. It's another, like, good kickstart to it all. Keep... I think I'm going to say 8 guns running. Play it risky. And do we want to? Or do we want to underdo it? Probably want to underdo it initially. I mean, you can turn them on by remote, so it's not a big deal. So we'll keep 7 running initially and then see where we end up. Built in there. And just copy this whole lot, hopefully. Nope, made a mess of that somehow. Move that at the bottom. That's good, okay. Didn't bring Tesla coils again. Not a big deal, but annoying that I keep forgetting that one. Maybe on the next trip, if that ever happens. I mean, this might be it. If we can get this base up and running without coming out again. We find a way of producing enough more panels and increasing it even more, but it is an insane amount of solar panels just to run this. Like I say, I just don't know what the alternative is. If you want this much vulcanite, which is a fraction of the vulcanite needed to run our base as it's currently designed. Which isn't overdoing it. Like, it is overdoing it. We know it's overdoing it, but it's not that much. I don't know. Okay, can't copy everything because the radars don't have power. Just copy one cell then, work our way up. Rook is in the way, of course. Look, the big rocks there. We'll see. Should have space for them. They can take a few trips, clear them out. You know, no rush. Need day to rise anyway before things can get moving again. Although it would actually be an idea to use satellite mode to disable the guns now. Just going to switch the end ones off. In fact, that's my preference here as well. Switch them off. Kind of want to. Can you clear the destination? Did that do it? Jamming every button? No. Clear filter. None. There we go. And are they different to the ones below? Not if you take the targets away. I'm just going to completely wipe them. Could divide the targets of the first ones in. I'd like to redo the poles. Which, because of the circuitry, is probably best to... don't know. There's a mod that I should have downloaded and added that I saw recently that reconnects all of these copper wires to all of the poles if you just drag it over an area, and makes them all square and everything. Definitely should have got that. Keep things tidy, even if we're never going to see them again. Still. There's a whole bunch of capsules down here. It's going to start backing up nicely soon, which is a very good sign. Oops. It's the opposite of what I'm trying to do. Missing that one. Well, that's good. That needs connecting and all that. Fine. And then this end. Quite a lot missing. Okay. I think there's a good way of clicking all these. It's not quite coming together. Well, I guess leaving them disconnected would have prevented the idle draw of the inserters. Saved a little bit of electricity. Might have been worth it. But oh well. I like things neat and tidy. Yeah, that set of guns that are supposed to be firing are firing. Every now and then, I guess. Okay, that's that row reconnected. Good. This one done. They are firing. Is it every 5 seconds? Doesn't sound like it. Let's take a look at that. This one there. Okay, that's all good. That's all pretty again, and then they're actually disabled. These are all shooting at the same chest, which is kind of irrelevant, I guess, but we could spread them around. Do we want to? And this isn't... Yeah, it's not inserting because the receiver's not getting enough power to receive the signals. The other end is ready for them. Kind of like the idea of spreading them out. So 2 on each. Sure. And you on the next one. Copy paste you on the next one. Doesn't particularly matter. Copy paste and you on that one, not the last one. And copy paste, but you are off, and I'm going to turn off the 8th one. 7th. The 8th one, so 7 are running at the moment. We'll possibly get some more switched on if we can make another trip later with even more solar. But yeah, we need to fix this power. Keep that signal receiver active so they keep firing. Maybe we didn't need to come to a waterless planet to get our vulcanite. That's a thought. Just out of curiosity, you know. The whole point of today is to wrap up those thoughts. We were on Everdome, which had some, and was, you know, a moon that had water. So there's something, you know. If we hadn't sent everything we mined there to the void, yeah, I mean, was the best option, I guess. That's why we went there. And there is some more here that we could have gone for example. Not much, though. This doesn't seem like enough to, you know, make it to a victory condition, or I guess that's irrelevant. You just need to make it to a point where you tech up enough that you can use an alternate source. Perhaps some higher level of solar power that would let you come where we are without going insane, like I have. Don't know. Just an interesting thought. Again, one of those I'm pretty sure I've taken the wrong approach kind of thoughts. And usually in a game, if I've taken the wrong approach, you just kind of like start again and try a different one. But I don't know, it took like, what, 60 plus hours to reach the point of making that decision. So should have kept better, like chapter saves, you know, like saves as we went at specific points where I could roll back to if I made a bad decision. Save a little bit of time. But I didn't at all. I don't usually, actually, but probably should do. Let's get these cliffs dealt with. I don't have the explosives on me. Okay. let us head back, swap stone for explosives, and deal with those cliffs. They are in here. Yep. They've got resources there. Interesting. They're just not firing solely because of power. They do need a lot. All good, looks all good. Gonna need to clear more eventually if we want to do another run. Get them dealt with. Might as well do it now. Little one there. Get all these rocks dealt with, why not? I'm intending to build here soon. Maybe even now, actually, with what we've got left. Full of gunk again. Doesn't take long. Ooh, a bunch of big rocks are there. That's gonna yeah, be a problem. Oh well. Mark it all up anyway and then deal with it. Probably want to get rid of these cliffs too if we've still got enough. Yeah, just about. There's a few north of us I can see on the minimap as well. Deal with that, though. Robots appear to all be in use. Yeah, okay. Fine, let's get them in. Let's get this dealt with and then come clear up more. Few bits from a meteorite there, and the ones from there, let's not forget them. Let these robots come in. Okay. Missing a pole on the corner here. Don't know why that is. Didn't saw that out when we put the gun in. Weird. There we go. How far do we need to go? Well, like that far for now. They're all marked. Looks good actually, look. Most of the rocks are cleared. Bits left over, I guess, where we were halfway through when I left. Them, is that a rock? Nope. Just little bits left over. That one is marked. Let's grab that. What's that telling me? Not enough. Yeah, they're fine. Grab that. That. No, that's not a rock. Okay. There's a bit of cliff here to deal with. That's fine. I think they can stay there. Okay, let's finish this run up. Grabbing that much. There we go. Good. The robot's in. Oh, the radar's working enough to get me a copy-paste the whole thing. Do you think we'll do another run? What have we got there? 1,000? No, 500 and a bit panels. 500 and a tiny bit. Whole run is 368, so should be able to do all of that. yeah, crazy amount. Could keep going north, actually, with where the radar coverage is, or west. But just because we're lined up now, might be nice to do more in the north. If we clear those cliffs out the way with only 5 explosives, then we can give it a go. We'll try. How are we doing? The accumulators are accumulating at 100 and sure, and a reducing amount, so we're getting into twilight. The guns are not firing because there's no capsules, because there's no heat shielding. Signal is being sent, no electrical issues. Signal C is being sent and there's no electrical issues. Signal C is being received. The inserters are enabled. The guns are switched off. Maybe I just copy-pasted the wrong ones. These are switched on. These have all been firing. So that's why I just didn't notice it before as well when I was checking them. They've been switched off this whole time. Okay. Well, they're on now. That might help. Bit of copper just arrived here. That might help too. Positive. I'll just move up. Let the robots build while I look at things. Okay. Capsules being made. Yeah, we do prioritise, so the front row is going to make first. It's kind of good. The other ones will probably stay disabled most of the time. And there we go. Vulcanite coming back. Okay, so setup good again. And seemingly working. Buffers are plenty safe. Should stay that way. Seems good. Happy that we have fixed things, and now it's a matter of just getting them flowing and providing enough power to get it working. It would be nice if someone would make a streamlined, not that's the wrong word, an accelerated version of space exploration, where we get to come out and build on other planets and have a fun time, but it only takes a couple of hours. I guess we could just cheat, you know, like really cheat. Still, we'll see. One day I'll look at how it works. It's probably extremely complicated, if I had to guess. It certainly looks it. We know we're below on backpack now. Well, a Tesla coil would be best, but daytime would help. Our solar generators, still not very good either. There we go. At least we finished this run before running out entirely. It's pretty cool. We don't have enough panels to do an entire other column, but maybe another row. That was, yeah, let's try that. Start by trying to get rid of these cliffs. Good, just 2 for that. Get this in 1, yeah. And then that. Nice. All cleared out. Bunch of rocks, obviously. With them, how much do we need? Just doing a block like that. Don't yet need to remove them. Just from there down. That cleared first, maybe. Make a trip to tidy it up, maybe. That's quite a lot. it does make sense. Volcanic planet, lots of rock all over the place. That radar is going to be... Well, we'll just, you know, we skip a panel there, that's fine. Just unplanned for. That's not an issue. Shouldn't be. It's all cleared out. We didn't fill our inventory up. That makes a change. Guess it's mostly empty at this point anyway. Albeit without the radar. There we go. Keep heading over. That's the issue. Not enough storage space. Don't know why it's giving me that error. It's not now, so sorted itself out, whatever it was. Fine. Keeps doing it, but yeah, it's a bit weird. We don't have the power. Do we have... We've got the stuff, we used to have the power, yeah. We have to do it ourselves, cool. Imagine. Sun must be rising if they just woken up. Where are we? Delivery cannons, 60 of them, drawing... Are they all drawing power? It's interesting, even the ones that are switched off. Shouldn't be. Can't really tell. Energy, 1,000 out of question mark. 1,000 megajoules. I think that's what it's got, and that's what it needs to take a shot. Does that vary by distance? I mean, it could do. Be interesting. That might slow them down. Might not be shooting every 5 seconds if it's further to go. It's interesting. It's a limit to how fast they draw the power in, which can't be changed. Seems fine though. The tooltip behind my face says that they take 50 megawatts when charging. So 50 megawatts across 7 guns should be 350 megawatts, which we are creating. Just. And growing. But it says we don't have enough. A peak 300 megawatts, yeah, so it's should be okay. It's going to grow up again. We're not charging the accumulators as well, which is interesting. Very interesting. We should be. But we're draining them because we're drawing too much power. I mean, 50 megawatts are needed to keep the meteor defense idle. They're not even charging. So we do need more. Yet more. Let's switch off another gun. Yeah, so when you switch it off, it stops immediately, which... No, it doesn't. What? On. That's the one I wanted off. I switched the wrong one off. There we go. Okay. They do stop immediately when switched off. Which would be nice to be able to control that by circuit network. That'd be good. Okay, so that should, in theory, save us 50 megawatts. In practice, I have no idea. It still says we're drawing like 500. The numbers down here don't add up to that. I don't think. I mean, 280 plus 76 because we just had some meteors come. 350, 375, maybe 400. Okay, that's what it says now. But that's because the guns have stopped and the accumulators were charging a bit. Unless I've misunderstood. Oh no, no, I have, haven't I? I've been looking at solar panels to give the power we need, not like number of panels needed. Like that's what the solar calculator's for. If we want our average power to be, what was it? I mean, we want 10 guns, so 500 megawatts. We need to have 6,212 panels and the correct number of accumulators. That's double what we've got. So to power them, we've got the right number of panels, but that won't charge the accumulators, so they won't fire at night. So to power them and charge the accumulators so that they can fire at night, what we've got's only going to work for 5 guns, I think. Let's switch off another one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 should be on, and then off. And that would be 250 megawatts of power, which is 3,106 panels. We've got 3,400 and a few more we're going to add, so hopefully the extras are enough to power the rest of the base. But okay, 5 of our 60 guns are potentially going to be powered by what we've got. Maybe that's enough to get our base up and running. It's all I want to do. Seems like such a simple thing. Okay, we've run out at this end. Cool, that's fine. Get that squared up though. There we go. Cool. So we can produce 396 of 46 extra megawatts. Sorry, more than that now that I've cut a couple of guns out. Hopefully that's enough then to fire the 5 guns I've left enabled. And that's the best we can do at the moment. Best we can hope for. They have now stopped, not enough copper flowing. But not as much needs to flow anymore. We'll see about that. There's nothing more we can do here other than clear out our inventory of junk. Oh, good. Just leave that one explosive behind, might as well. And we could happily head home. Well, no other choice really. Put all them in there for a minute. Let's load up on vulcanite. We've got 16 rocket parts left over here. I think we just leave them here for trying to build another rocket some point in the future. But yeah, nothing more to really be done. If we can't get things up and running with only 5 cannons, then that's that. Can fill my inventory too. And so that's all full. Rocket's full. This might help kickstart a few things moving forward, but yeah, if the throughput from 5 cannons is okay for getting things moving so that some of the buffers fill up from being underused and so on and so on, then it could get the base rolling properly again. Potentially. I mean, we'll see. It might not be enough. But you know, half prepared for that case, because that's the trouble we've been having for so long. Wouldn't be terribly surprising if we just can't do it at all, but I'd like to think that we can, that it will be possible. Okay, let's get all of this flown over down here. Extra vulcanite for them to take. I shouldn't put it there, I should put it... Doesn't matter. Sort these out, put the capsule onto it, mess with all the others. And rocket sections. We want to do something similar, like just stop feeding them in and let them sit somewhere waiting. They're not penny kicks or anything. Why don't I feed them back into the system to get repackaged and redelivered, but then not put into a rocket? We can take it from there if we can get that up and running. Rest of the vulcanite over here into there would be the best place for it. Trips of that. Oh, very cool. Barely noticed that, but 3 trains trying to come through the same bit of track. There's one in the station getting vulcanite, there's one waiting to collect vulcanite, and another came through the bypass and wriggled between them. I'm happy with the concept of our train squares, and there's many things of it I would copy into a future one. In particular, how we've done the roundabout with the bypass line and the 3-length system with the stuff in between. They're just too big for what we're dealing with. And we're dealing with big, complicated stuff, so we will definitely do smaller ones next time. Even maybe smallest ones. Thinking if we can get some, maybe like a train mod that adds faster trains or faster train fuels, then we could do just 1 locomotive with 1 wagon. Tiny little squares and see what we can do with that. Could be interesting. But we'd do the same thing, like a length in the middle, then 1 after with a bypass and 1 before with the bypass meeting, I think. Would be good. We'll see. Give something like that a go, and then give something like something else a go, or whatever. Not entirely sure what we'll do, but I'll put a pack of mods together before next week, and we'll do some more Factorio. I like it, you know. Just try and find a way to have fun with it again. Do something a bit more interesting, hopefully. And maybe cut the videos up a bit different. Still, the first video of this series is still very popular. It's about to cross about 200 hours watched on YouTube. About 700 views, just over. Which is incredible. And I'm very grateful for that. I feel like we could cut the videos up better for that audience. Help, if there is a good YouTube audience, help them by cutting it into like 1-hour videos instead of the 8-hour videos we used to do. So we might start Factorio stream days. I might take a break every hour just to have a little way of dividing everything up, you know, something like that. Which wouldn't kill me to stand up every hour instead of every 2. Probably a good idea regardless. Still only a dribble of vulcanite blocks coming out. It shouldn't matter that we're not inputting the planned amount. I don't think. Obviously the enrichment isn't running at full speed, but I can't see that mattering. I mean, we don't need all 4 cells running because we're not inputting fast enough for all 4 cells to run. Let's pull that from the archive. This is designed on making 2,300 blocks a minute from 16,000 vulcanite ore a minute. We are currently firing 5 stacks, so 100 vulcanite every 5 seconds, which is 1,200 vulcanite every minute, which is a fraction of that. 615 7%. So yeah, like kind of, I mean that's less than 25%, so why don't we back here, what are we doing? We're balancing the lines. So it's not ideal, but we could just cut a bunch of them. Which ones go where? I'm assuming the 2 on the left feed into the top right. Yep, which is like the first block. Why don't we just have that one run? See what that does. I mean, this is going to work fine. Push everything into 8 and then back into 2. Won't matter. Especially because I, made the trains unbalanced like that. Oops. Spread them all out. Those will stop and then back up it through the balancer, and then everything will go that way. Bit not perfect. Could just change it and push all these or whatever. It's fine. This will sat back up a bit, but that buffer space will fill in quicker than all the others we got around the place. I don't know if that will see a better return, perhaps. Feeding this enrichment cycle more consistently, bigger, might see a better return out of it. Doubtful, but who knows. Make these 3 run faster than the others not run at all. Don't know. It certainly won't slow it down at all if it's only 7% of the input. I don't think we'll have any issue there. Blocks being collected. Great. Copper being smelted. Some, yes, looks like it. Hard to tell in the day. Some of them, yeah. Capsules being made. Kind of. Tiny amount. Resources being fired. No. Signals, none. Okay, other end. No power. Which could happen this night, but should not happen tomorrow. Power draw is immediate. Create the power, but we use the calculator. We don't know the total consumption of everything added together. Don't really know how you see that. Or no. And this peak I'm not sure is right, but 256 plus 50, so 306 plus 15, 20, 22, I mean that's rounded up and called it 50. We're on 350 and we're making 396, so yeah, 350, hang on, which would require 4 350 panels, which we do not have. Okay, I'm wrong. We don't have enough panels here to power 5 guns. Okay. Let's go down to 2 guns. Can we have enough power to do that and then wind our way up? Let's say we do. Weird shape. Yeah. Cool. That should be like 200. Let's call it 250. That should be 3,100 panels, which we do have. We should definitely be able to keep this and the accumulator charge and everything all good now, consistently. But we're now supplying back home 40 vulcanite per 5 seconds, we think. 480 a minute. Which, again, yeah, is barely anything. 480 over the 16615, 2.8% of the 2304. So we're making 66.5 blocks a minute. Copper here somewhere. There. Copper is trying to pull 383 a minute. So, yeah, we're not feeding copper at the full rate, which is okay. What rate is that? 66.5, okay, 3, 17% of the input there, which is 1150. That's like, let's say 200 ingots a minute. We're capable of making, if we don't make anything else, which we can't do that, but let's say 200 ingots a minute. These two combined, both of which are needed, are using 2250. So we're doing 10% of them, yeah, 8.8% of them. This is for 750 capsules a minute. So we're talking about, and it's different, isn't it? Because you don't need that 750. That's misleading. Let's go back a few steps, which I can't do on this calculator, can I? What is it? We're making 8.8%. Yep, sure. 8.8% of the copper. And we want to times that by this plus what we need to carry this, which was 10% of this. I want to say 750. How many guns did we end up using? 2, 4, like 15? 7, 11, yeah, 15, which is, it's rounded up, so it's not quite right. That's 15 capsules per whatever it is. It's 180 capsules a minute. So we want this plus 180 from 750, so 25% on top. 24%, so 1395. So we need 122 copper per minute to do this. Is that right? Right. Confused myself now. I don't think I've got the right numbers there. Can try it again. The fact is, I don't think we're returning enough vulcanite. Might be enough for the copper, but it's not enough to also do the steel and the iron that's required for the whole process everywhere. We'll see, you know, we can try that math again, or we can just let things run for a while and see how they go. I mean, tell you what, we'll let things to run for a little bit while I take a short break. We are 2 hours, 20 minutes in, which is about halfway through a typical session. We'll keep going until we know for certain one way or the other. We won't go for a crazy amount of time, but I'd like to know for certain one way or other whether this can kickstart the base or not. If we can work it out, see it in action, or get that math nailed down to prove that it just can't do it, then that is a nice conclusion. It concludes that I'm not crazy and there is just like a fundamental issue here. The combination of what is expected from the gameplay of these mods and what I am able to do, what we have done, with the likely solution to our current problem being start again and build the base completely differently. Like I think that is the answer. I'm just not willing to do that until there's, you know, major updates that might change the flow and the pacing of things, so that they're more enjoyable. But it'll be interesting, yeah, to see this up and going. I appreciate today's not the most thrilling session, but it should wrap things up nicely, I hope, as we cap off this series. Anyway, a couple of hours left anyway, likely, in order to see this all up and running. And I'll just take 5 minutes now before we deal with all that. So I'll see you guys shortly. Hello, hello. I am back. Well, let's see what fun the base got up to while I was away. I don't see many vulcanite blocks coming past. But I do see some. Okay. So what's missing here? I guess ideally we'd see this line full of the non-glowing. What are they actually called this way around? It's enriched vulcanite. This is not enriched. Crushed. Crushed, yeah. Okay. So we don't have enough of the crushed one to feed the enrichment. It could be that if you've not got enough input, like this much enrichment is actually bad, that you want less. I just don't really know how that works. A little bit beyond me, really. Not much we can do about that. I mean, we could cut off some of the enrichment as well. It's kind of in quarters. So we could just do a quarter again. Or where are we? We've got 25. Well, I've reduced it again, didn't I? So we probably could do that. Why don't we give that a go? Just a bit out of curiosity, but also I do think like feeding the first enrichment machine fully and then when that's happy doing the second one would be better. Not I don't know, any layout that would permit that, but still. Really, I just want this line to go, so I'm going to cut there and there. Just put that back into these. We should feed like these 16 enrichment machines more. I don't know, maybe that's better, maybe not. Do our trigger points need to be different? No, that shouldn't make any difference at all. That could be good, actually. I'm like I say, not 100% on how the enrichment processes like behave. What's best or worst? I do some research into that. It's interesting, although possibly beyond my kind of knowledge area. We'll see. I could strip the resources out of these ones as well if they're not actively being used, but if we're going to switch them on at some point, then I'd rather have that buffer there ready. And I don't think we're going to switch them on, but it might happen, so I'm not going to mess with that. Vulcanite is moving tiny little bits each time. Might be one of those things where we need to tell the trains only to come if there's a certain amount ready. Again, not happy with the train system in general, so maybe we just leave it. Definitely try and do it different in the future. Work out how we can use the signals to control. The train arrives, it tells the station what it's expecting to find. So we tell them only to come if there's 1,000 good for them, and they come expecting 1,001 or whatever. We can grab that number somehow and somehow control it so that only 1,000 get loaded. No idea how we'd do that. I guess you need the signal of... It outputs two signals. If it outputs what it's expecting and what it's got, I think it does. Interesting. We don't have the setup to play with that now particularly. That's something I would like to play with in another run. We're going to play each mod individually, which I think would be one recommendation I have for anyone else who's attempting this, is play each mod individually before you combine them. For sure. So yeah, I mean, LTM would be my first choice, and then Krastorio. I'm open to it. And space exploration at some point. It's just such a fascinating game. I'd love to see it all, just with an accelerated option would be great. Which, not having Krastorio 2 is more accelerated than having it. So compared to what we're playing at the moment, there is an accelerated option. And we should do that at some point. But that's not like a... I said before with City Skylines and with the Anno series, like we'll come back to those at some point, and that's like a short term somewhat. Neither of them particularly take my fancy like this month, but within a year or two I'd expect to be playing those games, or maybe City Skylines 2, but those sooner. If we were playing SpaceX again, it won't be this year, and I don't think it would be next year, and I think it would be when there's a version 1.0 release, and that could be many years from now. It's a big mod, and they've got big aspirations for it, so yeah, it'll be a while, which is cool. Love to support mod making in general, even if I don't personally enjoy the specific mod. I've done a city there, trying to output onto a pipe all the way across. Doesn't really impact us because we're not intending to use all of these, which again, we might be able to make this more efficient if we cut off some of the lines. We could also smelt this enriched copper to kickstart things, and that's another, I think, recommendation. I don't know if that's the word, but something that I would do differently if we were doing this again is not cut out the old stuff ever. We would, or anything that has a requirement that isn't self-feeding. So you don't need copper to make sulfuric acid, which is what's here. Therefore, you could just use the enriched copper. You don't need the first stage one, but the enriched and not the ingot. Keep some of that. The iron you do need to make the sulfur, so have some original basic iron smelting, and then you can have some enriched, and then also have some ingot. Because of the way that our requesting of resources is handled, I wanted to only have ingots, and I think that's a mistake as well. I think something like keep your plates and use them here on the home planet, transport your ingots to other planets and to orbit. Where you need copper elsewhere, use ingots. Something like that, just some bigger balance, which is even harder to micromanage, but that's something I think would have been better. To achieve that now, we'd have to spend weeks rebuilding everything, and I'm just not willing to do that. So it would be better and more time efficient to just start again. And if we're starting again, we're doing something different. Something smaller, more manageable, more sensible. Like I say earlier, I've just bit off more than I can chew here, and it doesn't feel good, but it is what it is. And we should change accordingly. It does feel a shame. A long-running series, and one, like I say, the first video is still popular, still new viewers watching the entire thing, so it was a shame not to get the ending I wanted out of it. However, I think another Factorio run will be equally as interesting to people. It's just showing the way that I handle the problems. That's what people want to see, right? The thing that makes my run different to any other video is the way that I deal with it, and the way that I build with stupid square grids of small electric poles, which we will keep doing forever, regardless of the mods we're using. If there's a mod that we're playing and it removes small electric poles, then I will mod them back in to make stupid square grids out of them. Nothing's firing. Should mean nothing is desired. Which is correct. Buffers are all full. Nothing is firing. They are firing. Excellent. Buffers are full. That's perfect. So the only restricting factor is the power on Hephaestus. That's a good point to have reached in this. That makes me somewhat happy. Now our production just just randomly dropped a bunch because the accumulators are full. So we don't need to produce as much anymore. So depending on the time between now and sunset, that's free energy. This headroom. That might be enough for a third gun. Scroll wheel being silly, sorry. Potentially. I mean, there is spare power, so let's turn it on and find out if that makes it not enough power. But also, consider nuclear power, as in the delivery of nuclear fuel cells and water to turn to steam is something. The main thing is you don't get that steam back, right? It doesn't turn into water after it's powered. It's not really what I'm after. I'm after... It's like the crafting. You turn steam back into water, but it's intentional, right? Internal turbine steam. No, you do get water out. Interesting. If this is what I think it is. Like a turbine that generates electricity, and it's the turbine that you use in the nuclear setting and not the other one. Not the steam engine. So the steam engine doesn't return the water after, but the turbine can? Doesn't seem right. I don't remember that ever happening. Consumes steam. Yeah, 50 per second it's consumed. It's a 415 degree. That's the difference there. These are different things, yeah. This is like that condenser one to take steam and turn it into different temperatures or whatever. That's something different, not what I'm thinking of. Because even if you recovered half the steam that you put through the steam turbine, that's still less water to deliver. But in this case, you need 50 steam. Which one to use? Use this, right? Heat exchanger. Consumes 250 water per second to create 250 steam per second. So each turbine needs 50 water per second. So a barrel per second per turbine. A barrel per second per turbine is a lot. How can we consider that? Turbine creates 10 megawatts. So a barrel per second for 10 megawatts. And if we're aiming to have... Well, a gun is 50 megawatts. So it's 5 barrels per second. 300 a minute. 25 per gun cycle. So you need 25 guns per gun. I might have done that math wrong. It's not terribly important. I still just don't think it's viable. But yeah, each gun we want to activate this end, theoretically needing 25 guns shooting water the other end. It's pretty much the same as the other method. As in, just not viable. Water ice seemed pretty viable, which is an interesting one. If you have a consistent supply of water ice, which we do not. We have that patch, but it's just not accessible, really. If we had an orbital station that was up and running, and the logistics for it, then maybe that would be possible. In theory, we are overproducing everything related to delivery cannons. And we could split these in, so the second half went to orbit. It's a hell of a lot of work, that's That's it, isn't it? That's the exact thought process that is why I need to stop this, for my own sanity more than anything else. It's just, yeah, there is like a solution there. There absolutely is, and I really want to grasp that and keep following that process all the way to the victory, but it's torture. And I shouldn't do that. Feel like adjusting these a bit. That one needs to go under there. That's okay. I don't have any, because I put everything away, didn't I? Just go fill my inventory with stuff just to have it. Feels a bit naked not having any belt on me. I'm really happy with the uranium and stuff. I just hope, the people who somehow have found the strength to watch through the whole series, or at least watched at the start and have watched the end now, gained something from it. Ideas or pointers on what not to do, especially ways they could approach situations differently. Some interest in the way I deciphered things where I could before I went too crazy. What those are doing in there, but we'll grab them. All bits and pieces, why not? Any of them, all of that. That's better, that's stuff, you know. Okay, so the buffers on Hephaestus have filled in. The next buffer that needs to fill in is the copper supply to making capsules. That's where we're overdoing it most, so it should back up quickest. It's not going to happen unless the capsule supply to the guns is backing up. So that, I guess, would be the next point, is a train station at the bottom of the gun supply. If that meets its request number, that's the next stage of things being okay. I mean, it's not looking bad. So down here it's requesting 1600, and we've got almost 700. So yeah, those buffers aren't full. And the availability on this side, shortage of copper cable. Yep. Shortage of copper in general. That's not a small amount of copper that's just been delivered in one load. It's not awful. So you just got to make sure we don't run out of steel in the meantime. Which looks fine at the moment. There's our copper flowing. Some, you know, not a huge amount, but looks quite reasonable. The low density structures take the copper first, so they still have a bit of backing up to do before it prioritizes getting things moving again. Okay. I mean, that could be a mistake, you know, prioritizing specific things, but that's how we've done buses. It is the right way to do it, I think. You know, this isn't vanilla, so who knows. More copper, that's the thing. Things are actively moving at the moment, though, right? That's the thing, is it is working. Vulcanite is continually being dropped here, yeah. Slowly, but it is. And trains are taking it, although for these tiny little bits, it's a massive waste of uranium. To make such a little journey, we should just run the belt under. It's like me being so rigid about how we use trains and stuff isn't the best option. But still, whatever. How are we doing here? Better. They're still not all running. Just interesting. But it did seem kind of better supply. Don't know. It's a bit weird. We don't need to split it up here anymore. Really should like just change that to prioritize right. So they all go that way. The shorter, the barely shorter route. Why not? It's running, but it's releasing quite a bit, which isn't backing up. Fine. And again, we can prioritize here to speed up. Maximize one machine running as much as possible, and then the next machine, and then the next machine. I think that's kind of what we're doing, and that is best. We could restore those bits of belt and follow that same logic further. Change the priorities on the splitter instead of taking the belt away. And then, if it backs up for whatever reason, it goes to the next set of machines, but the next machine. It does make sense. Maybe should have done that from the first. If I knew more about enrichment, maybe we would have. I'm not unhappy with what we've built here, enrichment-wise, but yeah. Prioritize right there and left there. At least, I don't really understand what maths is involved in this process, or anything like that, I guess. Yeah, what is this? This is the pieces, yeah, okay. So how's the copper supply number? That didn't look like it was full or anything. That train looks like it arrived empty. Probably has to have one or two. So of the 22, we've got none, yeah. So the copper isn't backing up here. I mean, yet, this looks like it's about to. Is it moving at all? Yes. Okay, so something here hasn't backed up all the way. Which I assume is low density structures. This is facing the wrong direction for some reason. That one is not. I guess the one in the square to our right is also doing that. If that line backs up a bit further, unless like that is the throughput of the requests from the other side, could be. Could be. In which case, if the copper doesn't back up, then we're not self-feeding, and we know. It's an interesting one. No, the belt here, all good. Okay. This one has backed up with copper, that's good. So it's like a third of the way of backing that up and then causing more. Not that that particularly matters, just that it's a sign of the progress. We've got lots of capsules here. So yeah. If the demand from the other end is pulling like this much low density structure, and that's pulling a certain amount of copper, if we're not getting copper to back up in these warehouses at that rate, like higher than that rate, then we're not self-feeding. And it's like the consequence of the giant chunks of vulcanite that I brought home by rocket that are actually helping. And that's not, it's not to say rocket is better than cannon, that's not the point. Because we're no longer making rocket parts, we just used ones we had lying around. It's still, cannon is mathematically the right option. I'm sure of that. Just it's not, I guess it's messy, it's why I didn't like the first time. And I have been thinking about how difficult it is. We tried cannons once, I didn't like them, I can't really remember exactly why. So we went with rockets thinking it was viable. And it wasn't really on the scale that we are working at, which is unnecessary, perhaps, don't really know, but it wasn't really viable. So we went back to cannons, but by the time we've gone through that process of trying those things and coming to those conclusions, just completely forgotten what we'd done the first time, what we didn't like the first time, and what we needed to do with the guns, and then just made mistakes, got things wrong. Deeply frustrating. And if that's like the intentional design of it is that you will bash your head against things for hours and hours and hours, I'm never going to enjoy that if that's how it's supposed to be. And of course the other edge to that is other people have solved it. You know, they've done the bashing of their heads and come up with a solution that is known to work, that you can find in videos on YouTube. You can just copy paste it. So is that the intended gameplay? You just find the answer to the problem and copy paste it in? Because I feel like making something so unrewardingly difficult encourages that kind of thing, not actually trying it yourself. Unlike vanilla Factorio, that I feel gives you such a big sandbox, so many permissible options, that you're not necessarily going to get it perfect, but you're going to find a good enough solution by trying something out, and it's going to be quick enough that you feel rewarded for it quickly, and so on. You know, I think vanilla is good. It's well known. We're out of steel. Okay. So we need steel in order to keep this going. Therefore, we need to re-enable requesting vulcanite blocks at steel production to get some of that flowing. Otherwise everything's going to stop again. I think it will regardless, but still. Where do they go in? Must be down here, right? Yep. What is the number needed? Kind of irrelevant. Just need to spread it around everywhere equally. What are they? I can't even remember what they come in. Let's just go with 1600, it's fine. It's irrelevant. We're never going to have anywhere near that number. Just not going to happen. I'm pretty sure this, like enabling this, just breaks everything and we won't have enough copper, but we'll see pretty soon if the system just feeds itself out again and stops. Which it actually shouldn't. Let's think. Can that happen? It can. That's the point of that math that I couldn't quite get around my head. If the amount of vulcanite we're bringing back... Oh no, we know that's good. So the cost of the vulcanite we're bringing back is the deal. The cost of the capsule to put it in and to get it back here, and that's it. We know the cost of one capsule is affordable. So then it's about wasting the resources. If we send all the vulcanite we receive to make steel until our buffers are full, we will run out of copper to keep it moving. That's the issue. It just needs to be spread evenly, and then it will be fine. If the vulcanite is spread evenly between all of the ingredients it needs to, which is just steel and copper, iron isn't needed in this process. And we're not necessarily doing that because of the way our base is set up. The trains should alternate. The first set of blocks going to copper, the second set of blocks going to steel. Should work, but the ratio isn't... The ratio of what they're supplying isn't 1-to-1, and the ratio of the demand isn't 1-to-1 either. So it's just plain old not right. I'm not sure LTN really helps you with that. I would like it to. I mean, vanilla trains definitely don't. They just take whatever's there to whatever's there. But you kind of want to say, yeah, copper should have 1,000 all the time, steel should have 1,000 all the time. The rate that it drops it down is the pacing for it. When it hits a certain point, come and get more. Fill up to 1,000. I guess that's the gap we're missing as well, which I assume is relatively simple on the requester. We'd change the request threshold up. Yeah, so it's like, I won't do it now because God knows the impact of that on our system. But at the moment, if we're supposed to have 8,000 vulcanite blocks, if we're requesting 1, it triggers the creation of the train journey. If we change this up to like 100, then we need to drop to 7,900 before it goes to get more. I assume that's how it works. And that's what we want to have active. So they stop sending trains every... I mean, did we do that somewhere? I thought we did that with the providers on the barrels, but not on any requesters anywhere. Like, yeah, this is only providing if it has 1,000 of them, otherwise it's not providing. So it's got 641 now. They're not going to come and get it until that breaks 1,000. Do the same on the requesting side, so they don't request a train to come and pick up 1. Seems sensible in general. It's for efficiency of the fuel cost. Should probably be like a train load. Don't come and get it unless we've got a train load. Makes a lot of sense. Then it arrives, but then... yeah, that doesn't really matter. Just leave a lot of downtime, like for us watching now. It'd be a hell of a lot of downtime where nothing happens, rather than little bits trickling through all the time. But the throughput rate would be identical. It's interesting. If we did that to vulcanite blocks, only take it if there's a train full. A train full goes to one place, a train full goes to the other place. It's even and fair. And you know we're not going to get that double train request unless there is sufficient here for both of them to come and get. So that's probably something missing from our configuration, the way we've done it. The thresholds shouldn't be set to 1, ever. If we set them to a full train load on the providing and the requesting, does that prevent the need to measure what they're looking for? Well, it does, because every train is looking for a full train load. And as long as every destination can hold a full train load of each item that it needs, which our current ones can. This is interesting, actually. Makes it quite viable to do this kind of thing. Number of wagons is irrelevant. That just increases how long the buffer lasts, so time between 2 journeys. And being 8 long, that would be an exceptionally long amount of time for some things. Like hundreds of hours, even for some things. So even if we were to, like, for example, cut down to having 1 wagon, that's something I'd be interested in trying. 1 loco, 1 wagon. Then you could still configure it the same, still have a warehouse, as long as that can hold enough of each individual item. Multiple of them in a row as well is an option. But we could continue using loaders in that case, which is, because of the speed and the throughput is preferred. Inserters can stop easier and they can be filtered, and you can do quite a lot with them actually. It's interesting. It's half an idea that we can explore in future when we do the next run. I think. Not sure if that will be next week. I'd like, we'll see. We'll see. I might just play something different and more casual for a little bit, a couple of weeks, then come back to another Factorio run. Or, something that might get more viewership is the main thing, isn't it? Factorio's been good. Lately, not many people come to watch. They do watch on YouTube, so who knows? Starting something new and different might get more people interested. It's always an opportunity. As seeing someone fail at space exploration it's probably been done before, I imagine. People who watch a lot of Factorio have seen people fail this combination of mods a lot. don't necessarily want to see it again. Unless they're particularly keen on square grids of small electric poles. You know. Copper being made. Have any blocks made it to steel? I doubt it. At the pace and everything, doesn't look like anything's moving here. There's a couple came in and made some motion. Again, it could be worth like disconnecting bits here, so all of the molten steel goes down one line. Encourage enough molten iron in the same place. Yeah, I don't know. Well, this is actually making some steel, okay. But it needs to make enough to back up to the warehouse for it to actually do anything. Awkwardly. Again, yeah. Don't think... I think it's core loader code that you can't circuit control them, rather than the loader mod I have. It would be nice to be able to stop them from outputting at all. Continues to flow at the moment. I mean, the buffer space down is quite full now. Very full, really. Even spare copper in there. 130 of it. So if we are now in like a running down situation where we're not going to make enough steel and copper, it's going to take a while to realise that. Potentially. Steel doesn't move quick. We don't need to make much of it. But in order to fill the buffers, we do. What's that number? Like what we did before. Here, yeah. Oh, interesting. I didn't break that down. But I did. Yeah, I just didn't click it out. Okay. I did on this one? Yeah, fine. It's 300 ingots a minute, and we're going to work on... So we're going to say 600. Work on 2 minutes. Let's just change that to 600 for the sake of it. Do the same on the one next door. See if we can fill that buffer in. Not that it really matters, but it'll be interesting. It will make a difference now. Yeah. Plastic I'm not going to reduce because we've got tons of it and it's not reliant on pyroflux or anything like that. Unlike the stuff we never even got to, the glass and the silicon I think can have pyroflux added in, and the rare metals can, but I mean if we evenly spread it between everything, we can do everything, just a much slower rate than planned, and that's just power. But yeah, very curious about what other people have done there. I assume gone to planets that don't have waterless. Everdome wasn't a great generation of it, but maybe there is somewhere else. Everdome was the closest. Let's check all the other planets around here. Again, probably did in the past, but I can't remember. There's a tiny bit there. The size 2%, no. Requires volcanic terrain, interesting. So it's quite limited in ways. Yeah, cryonite only on frozen terrain, interesting. Hephaestus is entirely that. There's the asteroid belt with the crashed spaceship we could have gone and got. It just doesn't appeal to me. I think I've said that in recent streams. People have come and talked about how their run's going, the things they've been doing. And it should be a case, when someone comes and talks about a game, like, oh, you get to make a spaceship later, it should be like, oh wow, that's really cool. I can't wait to go and do that, but that's not how I feel. Just feels like it would be a horrific chore. This has got lots, but it's waterless. Juliet has some, but is not waterless, so I'll take a look at that in a second. Just check all the others in the list first. small amount Iris. Not as much, I don't think. We looked at Heliolite. It has some. So what is that? Everything over 100%, 450 frequency. Actually, it's 125. Not that one, that one. 200. Okay, so that's more on Heliolite. That's probably why we looked at it. Oh, and even more here, but that's waterless. Okay. Interesting. I wonder if we hit that issue as well. If we're trying for a iridite, do we have a issue with it being waterless planets? I'm not even sure seeing what that's used for. Does not matter. That's asteroid belt. Lots of methane ice. Interesting. So which one was it? That's the waterless one. No, I'm crazy. Was it? Wasn't Heliolite. There was one after that had more. Oh, but it was waterless and I may have just missed that. Okay. Here is Heliolite. Yeah, some of those patches are viable. This one especially, which is probably why that's where the camera's pointing. Naive about it, perhaps. I thought, oh, we can just go get it from there. Underestimated the power involved. But yeah, here is a planet that is not, well, a moon. It's not waterless. But I don't see any water, which is interesting. Mersite caves. Vulcanite there. Yeah, enough to be worth a journey. Okay, so that's a mistake, you know, one should have done differently. Go to a planet with water, then we can make power easier. And if it's got water and coal, dead easy. If it's water to feed, you know, we can use water fill and make the water to feed the biomethanol production. That's great. Biters here, though. That would have been interesting. I would not have realised that and until they ran into us. Interesting. Still don't see any water unless I'm blind. Yeah, which I am. It's well known, but still. Quite a few biters. They should. Ah, there we go. There's water. Should be peaceful still. Long journey to get that. Well, I guess you make the power and send a line of long distance power poles along. Or, you know, build a big square grid like me. Okay. There is water here. We could have made power from that. Even nuclear by delivering the fuel cells in. And then mined up a few pretty good patches. Not many. 3.6 up there. Probably this cluster, this one here, maybe this one. Brought them together, launched them back. Would have been better to go there. Or to have continued with Everdome and not voided everything we mined there. Also. Steel not being made fast enough. Or not being delivered fast enough. Surplus of copper grows, which is a good sign, I guess. Festus power. In the last night, a meteor defense had a spike, sure. It has spikes every now and then. Seems to be successful though. Solar panel production. That point where it drops is where the accumulators are finished, where it's good. Okay. Which is, from the what I see, quite early in the night. And this is accumulator draw during the night. Quite early in the day, I mean. Nights are pretty short. And the accumulators seem pretty happy. I think we could turn another gun on. I reckon we could. One more. Two more, I think, statistically is supposed to not work. I don't think we checked statistically for 4 guns. But let's give it a go. We can check these power graphs after a couple of days, I guess. It's interesting. Well, that spike is there. Accumulator power. Don't know, weird. And there. Oh, meteor defense. Sure. And then it needs to make some more power, and if it's still during the day when the meteors come, that would spike. Sure. Cool. Delivery cannon has jumped up by 50 megawatts. So there's an idle cost as well if they're not charging, which for all of these is amounting to 6 megawatts. Which is kind of enough that we should just dismantle them, I guess. Or disable the power poles so they're not getting any supply. That would free up some power to actually use for the shooting, I guess. Interesting. With 4 guns firing. Okay. Seems even more viable. I'm not sure we're going to see. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. And we could be building stuff out in the meantime. You know, we could be connecting up more oil for those purposes, but they're just not needed because nothing else is moving. We're not drawing on them at all. So the extra oil isn't even needed at this point, I don't think, because we just can't craft anything until we get this working. So, other than for the fun of building stuff for the sake of building stuff, there's not much point in even connecting those things up that we've been, you know, looking at general targets we have had recently. That just doesn't matter, which is fine with me. I'm happy to be wrapping things up. Casual one today, not getting much done, just wrapping it up. I'm happy with what we've built. It's been fun in general. The mod pack, I've not had fun with it. Can't particularly recommend it unless you specifically want something that feels like a chore, you know. People do, of course they do, want something that is long and strenuous and stuff like that. That's some people's thing, so it can certainly offer that. But if you like having fun with video games, that's not what this is. I don't think. I mean, I'm no expert to say, but still. Pretty cool what we built. I'd like a moat. Don't know. See if I can find some way of watching the entire series back at 50 times speed, so it doesn't take hundreds of hours. But it's pretty cool what we have achieved in the time. Yeah, things here barely moving. That's not a surprise. Should let the copper back up. Just need that steel to refill sooner. Doesn't seem like it's going to happen. Steel runs out. We stop making parts, we stop firing, but there are buffers in place. Confused by that, actually. Let me just get them back into sequence. Oh. Everything here, these buffers, yeah. Small. We'll keep things moving for quite a while. Maybe long enough to get Vulcanite into steel. How does that look now? Yeah, there's none of it. I don't think we're ever going to notice. It's going to be such a small amount. There's so many buildings that are here. There are ones here. Yeah. Moving, making steel. It is happening. It's about to have a collection. Okay. Might be good then. Not great, but, you know, functional, the whole purpose. What has changed? Yeah, it's down to 6. Okay. Interesting. The steel might be up and running, but could be coming at the cost of the copper. Over here, spare steel still. No spare copper. No copper at all. Down that end, they're still moving to there. It's at 1.2k. So when that hits its buffer, things will change, which has, like 1.6k was based on firing all those guns, and we're firing them at 4 out of 60 guns, right? 6.6%. We could change that number. It's an arbitrary thing to do, but we could change it down to 160 and it'd still be good. And would allow things to start backing up sooner. Like, that's enough of a buffer to supply what we need at the moment. So why don't we do that? With 1,500, that is all good. So these will now start filling in, but it's got all of that to fill in before it starts backing up, which is completely unnecessary in this context. I mean, in general, but certainly in this context, we could just have 2 stacks in each and it'll be enough. Let's go with that. Let's go. Here we just want to hold 160, which is 20 per warehouse. And they're in stacks of 50. Okay, so it's just 1 stack in each is okay. I mean, you know, why try and fill it in if we know we're not using them? If we ended up using more, we just restrict it less. If there's something that's used a little, but comes in big enough stacks, which 50 is quite a big stack for what this is. I'd have expected 10 or 20 based on other items. There we go. It's fine, yeah, no steel found. Damn. Oh well. These look like they're going to back up pretty soon, then they'll back up on the belt. Added buffer that's quite long, which will make everything okay. Then the copper here will back up because it's not being used as fast. All the way to here. It would take hours to see this backed up fully, isn't it? I don't know. We'll see where we get to over the next hour, maybe. At the moment, I'm quite confident that this would work. So, I mean, either way, it proves a point. Not to anyone watching this. That's not the purpose of this. Not trying to prove anything about the mods or the game or what we've done, but just in my own head. If we can't get it up and running, then yeah, I'm right to stop playing it. And if we can, then I was right in how we redesigned it in recent couple of sessions. So either way, there's a certain satisfaction to getting a confirmation one way or the other today. If it looks like it is all good, then it's all good, and that's good with me. But yeah, not sure at the moment because of the steel thing. Can we check through recent deliveries? Mostly empty barrels around the place, sure. Capsules. So vulcanite blocks. M50 West, M50 West, M50 West. Oh, that's the depot. Hang on. Thought it sounded familiar. K51 South, K51 South, K51 South. No, they've all gone to the same place. Isn't right. 052 West would be steel. So it went to steel, then it went to copper 3 times. Why didn't it alternate? Copper, steel, copper, steel. confusing. Copper is requesting 8,000 of them, which is irrelevant, and it's got none. Steel should be the same, requesting whatever arbitrary number at this point, and then... yeah. I mean, it's 8,000, let's make them equal, maybe that matters. One of them's requesting more, does it prioritise that one repeatedly? Could be. Could be. No copper, no empty barrels because we've got no steel. Oh, and that's another thing, isn't it? If we restricted where the copper's going, I haven't restricted where the steel is going, so as well as where it needs to go to keep things running, it'll be coming places like here. Not here specifically, because this has got enough. There isn't an issue with the empty barrels. It's the recycling system hasn't got any to recycle. That's what they were saying. Network 2 doesn't have any empty barrels. That's fine. There's quite a few of these running, actually. It's a good sign. No spare pyroflux, but quite a few running. And yeah, quite a few of these running, okay. Building up a load to collect. It's interesting. Doesn't seem fast enough based on the belt movement down where we are. Maybe it does. Interesting. Copper isn't building up. There's no copper here. So how is copper also smelting or not? And does it matter? Just going in circles, aren't we? Well, that's the point, I suppose. Copper is smelting, or has just smelted. I think, yeah, that's more accurate. And yeah, we could solve the entire thing by just mining that copper, enriching it and smelting that into plate and feeding the plate into something, I guess. So it's a bit arbitrary, isn't it? We know what the solution is. It just takes way too, well, not way too long, it just takes a time that I'm not willing to commit. Interesting. Hadn't really considered that. We reconfigure the whole system again. These bits where we feed the ingots to be split, we just don't. Can have both things delivered. So we've got the simple one is here where we've got the steel. We've got the steel ingot coming in on one line, steel plate going down on one line. You can have both things delivered to the station, unload them onto separate lines, bring them up to this point, split down and prioritize one of the inputs, and then at the station you just need to have like a decider or an arithmetic combinator that added 10 times the ingots to the steel plate. Maybe? I mean, you could do it that way, then it would deliver steel ingots all the time, and if it doesn't have enough of them, it would deliver steel plate in to fill up. And if it's got enough steel ingots, then it would not try and request any steel plate. So yeah, there's a way of doing that, having both within the network and both capable of being processed in the production lines. Added mess, but yes, and also it would have been a good idea, I think. It's just that one thing, like ripping out the old smelting to put in the most efficient method is the approach that you take in other mods, but not here. I don't think is the best. I don't know. That's, yeah, not my preference. I guess it's one of those things. It's a preference thing. I like to tear out the old stuff. I like to have new stuff. in everything I like having new things just for the sake of them being new, so I guess I want the most efficient production setup because it's new and it makes more, but it provides no redundancy. That's how we end up in this situation. No copper flying at the moment. Steel is topping up here. It has run down quite a lot. They're still not like shooting that often, so a bit weird to know what they're doing. It's making low density structure that's pulling the steel, but I guess it draws it quite irregularly. Like each time that it shoots 5 times. So if it drops to the point where it needs 1, it shoots 5 times and then stops for 5 times worth of cycles. Which is kind of interesting. This end, how's the power done? So we upped the requirement. There was a slight dip in power requirement to the cannons. That's weird. That would suggest there wasn't enough being made, but inverse to the accumulator draw. Sure. Oh, that's fine. That's probably not cause, but effect. Yesterday, the panels still dropped for a while, and the accumulator coverage appears to be okay. Just interesting. I think it's close. We might have just enough power or just too little power for the 4th gun. Which, I mean, it pains me to have built in 60 guns and be able to power 4 of them. That hurts. But there you go. My own fault for not realising quite how hungry they were. Not remembering quite how hungry they were from the last time we tried. Still. Seems okay. What will we tell? Well, the copper's being drawn down now, so that's got no surplus. And the steel is slightly drawn down. So it's whether they rebuild more than they did last time before the next round of whatever's being shot. And here, belts are starting to back up, which is good. But these are short of the copper to keep that moving. Vulcanite delivery coming in. We know that's consistent. We know this is as consistent as it can be. Though, yeah, not... No, it looks alright. I mean, the amount of enriched stuff coming out after the enrichment process looks good. Still. Barely any of them are running, and just not confident in that. Oh well. Seems good on this side. Quite a few Vulcanite bits coming in there. Okay. And blocks. Some blocks. A train with 8 blocks. But that shouldn't know to come unless these got more than 8. So that's another train would have been there immediately before that. With more. We can check that, can't we? If it's finished its journey. Not entirely sure I got this the right way round. This was... This upside down. 227 hours, I guess. Yeah. No. It says they're sequenced by the finish time, but I think they're just not. So the last blocks, 2 trains. If it's tasking 2 trains at the same time, they might... Well, they should go to different places, and the second one end up with... Right. But we should have the warnings about them. And they're not empty. So that's not the issue. It's going to the same place twice in a row. If it tasks 2 trains to go make journeys, the first one grabs all the stuff, the second one has nothing to collect. We've had literally nothing. It might not report. And then the next one is tasked to go to the same place again. Possible. Seems unlikely. The second one should have like at least 1 or 2. And then it should be here. Like that train that just took 8. It should be here. Unless this history just is inaccurate for some reason. It's possible. Copper's not moving by the looks of it. There's some on the loaders. And some is being made. Okay. Little bits. That might have some soon. Steel. Where are you? Some is firing up, so that must be moving. That's fine. If they're both smelting actively and consistently, then we know they're supplied fast enough, not fast enough, but big enough for the amount of demand. Because we know the cost. Well, I didn't do the math on that actually. We'd done some math close to it, but I did the math on the cost of a rocket to bring a load of vulcanite back and what the spare is. That was not enough. And we know the cost of the guns is... What was it? It was like 25% on top of that? 24%. I haven't looked at it all, but the copper's a good measure for us. 1395 copper ingots for 750, which is not... that's 150% of a rocket. So if I divide that out... 930 copper for a rocket's worth. And the rocket is, yeah, double that. Plus 450, double that plus 450. So the guns are 40% the copper cost of the rocket. So yeah, like does that mean it's good? It just means the amount of spare copper you get for each moved volume is a lot bigger. But whether it's big enough, I don't know. If nothing else is moving, yeah, sure. The spare vulcanite to make the steel is the main thing. How much spare vulcanite do you get? Rather than how much spare copper do you get? Which, yeah, I mean, the amount of steel needed is very small, so it should be. Not sure it's worth doing that math. I don't know how other people would feel about that. I mean, someone's probably done it, right? The mod's popular enough and has been played enough times that someone's probably done the math on how many cannons of vulcanite do you need to feed itself, and what's the spare throughput available of that vulcanite for use in other things. I don't know. Maybe it's not worth doing. You just build it, and if it works, it's good. And if, like us, it just doesn't work, then unlucky. Try something different. Over and over and over. You're going copper as well. I thought the guy before you was... I didn't really notice, I guess. Well, he's not here, so yeah. There's the copper one. Which, yeah, the nuclear one does move pretty fast. It's pretty cool. I'd like to have those nuclear trains in another run. Just the nuclear train. Have to supply them nuclear fuel cells. It's pretty cool, actually. And take the empty ones out and everything. Some was just delivered here as well. Okay, so that did split it evenly, and the history here is not updated at all. Maybe it just takes a while. Oh yeah, like here, it's just not sorted, is it? There we go. That's why the little arrow was there saying it was sorted by finished, but it wasn't. That's why it wasn't right. Yeah, each time. The bigger load to steel and then the smaller follow-up is going to copper. It's probably the wrong way around, but I don't think there's anything we can do about that. Change the sequence on that. Don't think that's possible. Two guys have come to collect some steel and take it wherever. It's interesting. Don't know where the second place would be. Might be something to do with barrels. Shouldn't be barrel production. That was well stocked. Could be the two cells here, I guess. This no, because this one's well stocked as well. Not that one. In the wrong place. Two cells down here. This one's still well stocked. I don't know what the request number is. Didn't change it. I did change it. So yeah, it's got 6,600 to the 600 it needs. And here's got nothing. But still seems to be fine. Like the supply is coming in just enough to keep it going. Or even, you know, not just enough, but it's coming in enough to keep it going. What's that train got? 567? It seems like a reasonable amount. Tiny bit of copper coming in here. Haven't backed up much here yet. Again, tiny bit of copper, I guess. Needs to feed the low density structures before it can feed the cabling. And then when it does feed the cabling, it draws out of everything. So yeah, it's a slow process, definitely. Which, you know, if we were cheating, we could just kickstart the whole thing with some magic copper. Unnecessary though. I mean, the water on the waterless planets is one of those things. It's like, could I have an option to reduce the difficulty by never having waterless planets? It's I don't care. Basically, it's nice to have that kind of thematic stuff in the mod. But I guess I don't care, so if I'm allowed to disable meteor strikes and the CMEs and everything else, could I choose my own difficulty? Could I choose to remove the mod that makes robots crash and run a very robot heavy base if I want to, if I choose to, you know? I mean, maybe I can. I haven't checked every option. I checked it before we started. But it's probably, you know, worth playing a bit before you decide what settings you want for real. Another reason to play the mod on its own before throwing it together into a big pack of torture. Steel appears to be smelting consistently, if not effectively or ideally. We could come and cut things down, but I don't think it's necessary. It doesn't feel necessary. It is moving. And copper too. Same deal, could cut it down, but it seems to be flowing okay. Reasonable amount. Not at the moment though. Bits here and there. Yeah. I mean, we looked when we had 2 guns running at how much we were supplying here. And it was like nowhere near. Right? I don't think now that we've got 4 guns, it's anywhere near 100% of the smelting. Or even 10%, I don't think. Still building up. Can't really tell what's there. Yeah, almost nothing. Okay. Festus still shooting away. is good. When the meteor defenses spike, the power goes there instead of into the accumulators, but it's still... Yeah, it's a very close one, isn't it? Look at that. Like, if it didn't have to do the meteor defense, it might have been good. There's no point where the solar panel dropped. But the accumulators did start up at the right time, so there was enough power in the accumulators to last the night, because we're now in daybreak, and there's some power left, maybe not enough. Maybe it's about to run slightly short. That'd be very interesting. So, like, if the meteor defenses don't need to fire, then we have enough power, but if they do fire, we don't have enough power. Be very cutting it fine. Seems like it's going to run out before the solar comes fully online. There it is. Bam. Satisfaction dropped completely. We've got 145 megawatts to the 380 we need, as the solar isn't fully online. So 4 guns is too many. Barely. I'm not going to change it. They'll just run bad now, very briefly. But yeah, that is... okay, maybe that's what that was saying there, where the leg of it kind of drops suddenly. There's a brief bit in the morning where the power supply isn't good enough. Few more panels could make all the difference, but if we go over there to build them, we will not make it home. Also, we haven't had the resources available to create more solar panels and stuff, so that's just not going to happen. Oh well. The vulcanite is still flowing, you know, in a manner. And enriching and making blocks. I think it's good. I think we needed to make that change to the buffers on the other end, so that they could handle, you know, not overloading the chests. But we were only ever going to overload the chests if all those guns were running, you know. Once those buffers built up, it became irrelevant, really. We could have left just the chest with a much smaller buffer number, and it would have been fine, because we've just not got that throughput, which we could kick in. I mean, where are we? Is there any point? Not really. We're just thinking we could cheat in a bunch of high-level solar panels and to kick things up and see what it's like if everything was running full speed. But it's kind of irrelevant. It wouldn't look much different at all. Things would run a bit faster. It's not that exciting. Yeah, don't know. A few conclusions. I'm probably going to forget everything if we were to play again, which is another reason to wait for like major overhauls of the mod, major version updates. But I would avoid waterless planets entirely. I just can't see how they can be viable in any way. Maybe later, when you've got the top level solar panels. Not those are just the next level, which is 2.5 times better. What have we got there? 400 kilowatt, 800 kilowatt, 1.6 megawatt per panel, and these flat ones are smaller. They're 2x2, I think, not 3x3. So I mean, yeah, you know, if we got our vulcanite from a planet with water but less vulcanite initially, and powered it through, I mean, biomethanol is a very good one. Really, I'm very happy with how that's worked out for us. One of our earlier designs, and I really love it. But yeah, if you then at a later point research the solar, you could go to a waterless planet with this kind of solar, and yeah, power a hell of a lot with very few of them. I don't know what the cost of that is, you know, an aqueum cube, what is that? a superconductive cable, no idea. This is made from a vulcanite block plus naquium plate plus nanomaterial with a particle stream, and we'd have to do all of that research before reaching that point. That's a naquium tesseract, sure, that sounds like a thing. There we go. All of this research before we could get there. It's insane amount. The mind that thinks this all up is amazing. And then a mind that can actually play it all the way through as well, equally so. It's not like we've done a little, we did a hell of a lot. Research and progress and progression, but it just doesn't feel that way really, you know? A very negative feeling in general, but we did achieve a lot, which was pretty cool. Let's move on to something more immediately rewarding. Make me feel good. How are we doing? This has backed up a bit more now, not much. So it's like it's done a phase of eating through, and now it needs to redo the low density to get the copper down to the cable, and then it'll eat through a bunch and a tiny bit more of that belt. It's going to take a lot of cycles. I don't think there's much point in watching much longer. I know it's a bit early, but it's been a quiet one in general today, and a casual one anyway, because we're not really doing anything, not building anything, just fix the things at the start and see if it works, and it would have if we could get that power, and that's kind of it. So the solutions, what we should have done if we were continuing to play: don't rely on vulcanite to begin with, so get some copper enriched and smelted just as is without turning it into ingots, so that there is a consistent copper supply that could keep things moving. Reduce all our buffer sizes and our request sizes, make trains take full loads instead of part loads, and control our buffers better and closer so they weren't so hungry, and move everything that we've got on Hephaestus over to, which one was it? Heliolite? Yeah, we should have moved it all here instead, where we could have made power from the water and then mined this vulcanite, these patches, and send that back, and done something about the biter friends we would have met along the way. But still, it was solvable. Just, you know, that list of 3 things, that's 100 hours easily a few months of streams just to do something so basic. I don't think that's great content or anything. I feel these streamers who are doing like 8 to 12 hour streams of SpaceX get some good progress, and that's a good watch, maybe at accelerated speed or something. But I don't want to stream that long anymore. I want to do 4 hour stuff, and I think it doesn't fit as well as something different that we will come up with. I don't know what shape that'll take, but for now it's goodbye to this lovely looking base. We've learnt a lot. I hope to apply that in the next run. I do. We'll try and make this kind of square rail grid based thing again, but in a slightly different way, with lessons learned and LTN controlled a bit better, and we'll apply that to like something that's vanilla or mostly vanilla, in order to learn those lessons properly before we apply it to something more complicated, like maybe just Krastorio. And we'll see where we end up, and probably, you know, between different runs play other games as well here and there. But we'll see. I'm going to say that I'm going to keep those saves safe somewhere, but we're going to wrap up the stream early for today, because I've set out to do what I wanted to, which is prove we weren't crazy. We're kind of on the right track and everything, and as much as I'm not enjoying it anymore, I wasn't completely awful at it. Just a little awful at it, which is fine. Absolutely. I hope anyone who has watched the series has enjoyed it to some degree, even if you just caught little bits of it. But if you caught the whole thing, then you're insane, and thank you very much. yeah, it has been fun in general. It's just not enough fun for the amount of time involved. So we'll try the next thing. Thank you everyone who has joined today live. If you've been here lurking away or chatting away, or lovely to have you here. Appreciate that. Sorry it was not the most thrilling one, but you know, that's Factorio. Sometimes it isn't, and we do enjoy it for that as well as the exciting parts where everything blows up. We'll be back, I think, with Factorio next week. I assume so. You can keep an eye on the schedule here on the Twitch profile. If I change anything, I'll probably tweet about it, though I am avoiding Twitter in general. At the moment, it just seems like a useless place to be honest. But you can always join the Discord as well. I can post things there, general updates. But yeah, I think we will probably Factorio with LTN and fewer other mods for some new kind of idea that hopefully is more rewarding and quicker, and we'll see how it goes. Next, I assume Wednesday. I don't see any reason to change it. So, you know, if you're used to the Wednesday Factorio slot, assume it'll be the same. But I will post in the usual places if not. I'll be back tomorrow to round off the week again with a bit of RimWorld. Nice chill time there. We're just poking around at a few mods and learning stuff about the game as well. Still learning quite a lot, so that's been fun and interesting. And I have started making a mod for it that is, I mean, that in itself is fun, but we can poke around at that too a little bit. It's difficult, progress is slow, but there's fun things. It's all about interaction, so you can be in chat and you can click buttons from the channel points and test out some of the stuff. And other than that, you know, just enjoy the general RimWorld story. So do join us tomorrow for that too, or catch it, whatever. But yeah, the things in general. Next week, some changes. Not entirely sure what. I might spend some extra time, I guess, learning programming formally to try and get a job, or possibly as well as that, might stream another game on Tuesdays and Fridays. That could be at a different time of day. Interested maybe in doing something a little earlier where some other people are available. And I don't know really, but some change, probably something different next Tuesday, Friday. A new Factorio run and so on. You know, a little bit of change coming, but nothing too major at the moment, I should hope. Still, that's the general state of affairs around here. If we're wrapping up early, let's see who we can spend the rest of the night with. There is a Fortnite tournament going on that I'm curious about, despite not really caring for Fortnite. Bit of a community thing, which could be interesting. I mean, Niflex's point of view isn't a bad idea. The main point of view could be good. Or Pigstyle is doing another long Factorio. I've had enough of Factorio. For a couple of days only. I'll be back. I think the main view of the tourney would be where I want to hang out for a couple of hours before bedtime. It's on Shadow at Noon's channel, so we'll go raid over there. Just double check that's all good. See who's winning. Who, I don't even know who's playing really. Not everyone, so it would be nice to find out and see who we're going to support. If I can stomach watching Fortnite for long enough to support anyone. Whatever you guys are up to after the raid, do have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your day. Even if that is watching Fortnite, it could be enjoyable. And yes, hope to see you again in some streams soon, or what have you, around our little community as it continues to grow bit by bit. It's nice. I'm happy. I just need to find another way of making some money, and we can keep this going. So, we can do that, and I'm feeling positive. But thank you very much, everyone. Really do appreciate the support so far. Have a good one.